President's Men, Sting, Butch Cassidy, and I don't know what the fourth one I would put is. Do you put the Natural, and that might win in the sports world? My Dolphins question is still, what retread do you want? Belichick, Gruden, Rex Ryan, rather.
Okay.
There's no day of any sort, so I don't care. That's about all I got right now. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day. We hope your week is going well. We'll get you over it so that you can begin the stretch run for home. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, David. I am good. I tried my best to get a good night's sleep. I did not accomplish that, but I was set to watch some baseball last night, and your Mets jumped out to a big lead, so I wasn't as interested in Mets Padres as I planned on being. I watched my Tigers make a comeback only to blow it in the 10th. I think they could have ended the Guardians last night and did not. The Yankees tried to blow one. The big dumper sets a record for switch hitting home runs. It was a pretty fun baseball night. And I guess that all depends on what team you root for. But a lot of baseball last night. Took in a little bit of that. Attempted to get a decent night's sleep. Fired up for a hump day today. There's still a lot of hope out there. And you and I root for greatness. We root for storylines. But there's so many storylines, whether it's early in the NFL, early in college football, a week and a half left in the baseball season. There's a lot to get discussing. So let's get after it this morning. Pretty good show lined up. Fired up.
All right. You talked me into it. Hope you talked a few others into it there. That's pretty good. And not only that, coming off a bad night's sleep.
I caught you mid-yawn and got you all the way through it, which I think is impressive. I'm happy with that.
Was not a yawn. All right. There will be yawns later in the show because I, too, had an awful night's sleep. So, in fact, the goal, you know how you have about, a 3 to 4 minute ride home from the studio, right? So, you have to, a few minutes after 10, you get done with the production work. So, you have to make sure you can make it to about 10:15 before you could begin your nap. Okay, since my bed is literally an arm's length away from me, I have to make it to about 9:54, I think.
And I'm out of luck today because I have a full slate.
Oh, do you?
Show. It is a nonstop run. Including, the daughter and some gymnastics and that stuff. But yesterday was a tough day. Yesterday, David, for the first time ever, and I'm never, we don't have good cop, bad cop in our house with our daughter. My daughter is wonderful. She's a good student. She's a good kid. Everything about her, there's really not anything not to like. And that's not, I don't care about the sports stuff because that doesn't matter. But we are very concerned and push her as hard as we can to be a good student. That's the most important thing to mom and dad. And the school that she goes to, I love one particular thing about it. The moment the teacher grades a homework assignment, a test, it is immediately emailed to me so I know how she did on everything. And when she made her travel gymnastics team, my wife allowed her to get a phone, much to the chagrin of the co-host of this show because I did not want her to have a phone. And I've hated the phone from the moment she has had the phone because kids don't talk on the phone. They play games. They don't communicate. I talked on the phone when I was 11, 12 years old to friends. You picked it up. You dialed. How are you? Good. How are you? And you had a conversation. They play games and don't even really communicate with one another.
Can I just stop you there for a second? How did you talk to your friends when you were 11, 12 years?
How are you? It was very much a Kramer S. Seinfeld voice there, if you caught
Right.
that.
No. I was enjoying it greatly. So how did we talk to one another back in the day? How are you? How is your day going? Why, that's great to hear, Johnny. Okay.
And
go ahead.
she did not do well on a test in her best subject.
Okay.
And she, much to Dad, I take blame because when I said, what do you have tomorrow? All of a sudden before bed, I've got a test tomorrow. So she didn't prepare. And when I saw the grade yesterday, sitting on the couch after she was home from school and she had completed her homework, she heard a voice that I don't think she's ever heard before. I said, come downstairs, bring your phone and bring your tablet. And she sheepishly walked downstairs. I said, give them to me. I said, they're gone. Gone.
Look at you dropping the hammer.
And I said, you may get them back when you're 20.
Not 12?
No, 20.
For those that don't know, his daughter's 11.
And so after a little this and that, she's upset. She's up in her room and she's got a tear and I have to take her to where we're going next. And I looked at her. I said, are you crying because you did poorly on the test? Or are you crying because I took your phone? That was a hell of a question right there. Because she knew what the proper answer was. And we both knew what the real answer was.
Yeah, look at you.
So I had to be bad cop. And I told my wife, I called her. I said, don't worry. I said, I put this all on me. I said, you're allowed to be good cop because I have taken over. This is it. This is ended. And so it was a very interesting evening in the Miller household.
All right.
Dropped the hammer. And I've never had to do that because when she's doing, when she was doing great, it's like, we're like, you can't have your phone during the week. And she's getting, basically 95% and above in every class. How do you tell her not to do something? But I got it back.
For those of a certain age who never heard John Madden broadcast a Brett Favre game, this is how John Madden felt when Favre threw his fourth interception and he had to actually criticize him. Okay.
That's a good, that's accurate analogy.
This is where Mark was last night. He actually had to criticize Favre for throwing that last interception. Okay, while then complimenting him and saying, "Don't worry, I'll send you back out there to throw 3 more."
That's right. That's right.
Wow. Okay. Way to go, Dad. By the way, she probably slept like a baby and it messed you up.
Yeah, you're probably right. You know what? When you get right down to it, the therapist would tell me that was the reason for the bad night's sleep.
Whether it was or not, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, I want to ask you something, and I don't know if we'll get into it a little bit later, and I don't know if you think it's a big deal, but with everything going on in Gainesville right now, and Kevin Brockway will join the show later this morning to talk about the Gators and their big game with the Canes coming up on Saturday. Napier is getting all the criticism, and he deserves a great deal of it because, well, they're performing poorly. But how much do you make of the running back coach getting suspended for being involved in that kerfuffle before the LSU game to amplify the lack of discipline that goes on game day? I'm not talking about, because when you listen to people that are inside, I thought Josh Pate made a great video over the weekend when he said, if you go to Florida and you look at how the organizations run, it's no different than Athens. It's no different than Columbus. It's no different than this. It's no different than that. It looks well structured from Sunday through Friday in the off season, how they recruit, how they set things up. But there's a problem on Saturday. They seem unorganized. They seem undisciplined. So with the coach getting suspended there for 3 games with the lap that the team did and a little pushing and shoving with LSU before the game on Saturday, which did lead to a really physical football game. And it started with that. How much of that are you putting on Napier, if at all?
Well, I don't put any of it on Napier, but unfortunately, all right, when you're the head coach, you're held responsible for everything. Okay. And so since you, in your first 3 years and 3 games as coach, have had problems with your team being disciplined on the field, then this falls under that category. And you just had a player spit on another player. Okay. That I think it's a bad look for Napier. I don't blame him at all. I blame the associate head coach there, Jabbar Jaluki. By the way, just quick sidebar. Hey, Greg Sankey, so you're aware of the Florida Gators in Gainesville. So you had no problem with the kid spitting on the South Florida kid. You didn't suspend him, but you suspend the coach. And I know adults and what have you, but you gave the coach 3 games. And by the way, he deserves every minute of it. But so you suspend the coach, but not the player. So just once again, the SEC did not step in, neither did Billy Napier, by the way,
Nope.
and suspend the defensive lineman who spit on another player. Okay. All right. But make sure you find a school when the students celebrate a win and run onto the court or the field. Yes, that's bad. Spitting? No problem. But I think it's a bad look for Napier. It now fits the narrative. They're undisciplined. Hell, even their coaches are undisciplined, blah, blah, blah. You know, the part that I put all the blame on Napier for, though, is the offense.
How can you not? He's
Right.
the play caller. For a couple of years now, we have talked on this show and others have talked around the state and even nationally, if you listen to some college football radio, that Napier, in a lot of people's opinion, should have given up the play calling, that it's just too much for him on game day.
Yep. Look at Mike Norvell. Mike Norvell, who, by the way, has a much better record at the highest level of calling plays than Billy Napier. I mean, he did call the plays for a 13-0 regular season. All right. Mike Norvell gave up the play calling. Why? Because they weren't winning enough games, and he's the head coach, and ultimately he's responsible for that. So go out, find a very good play caller, give up the thing that you love the most because the team comes before your ego. Quite frankly, if I'm Scott Strickland, that's what I would have said to Billy Napier. The team comes before your ego, and your ego is keeping you calling plays.
And there's no doubt that after the LSU game, when the LSU players are telling the media we knew what they were running.
Right.
That, to me, talks about the dire straits that the program's in. However, as we've said throughout the week, even if Miami goes badly, they beat Texas, they're right in the thick of things for the SEC. Right. Because right now, there's no way anybody can tell me that there's a dominant team in that conference. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, and Kevin Brockway all joining us today on Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
So I asked him at Floor Meisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, Well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Cortec. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Cortec. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't think so, Jay Gunn. I think this is going to be a better game than you think. First off, look at what that defense has done the last 2 weeks. They committed 5 turnovers and gave up 10 first downs, 13 points because there was a pick 6. I mean, that defense is good. It is. So I have with Redford's passing yesterday, which of these Redford's films is your favorite? All the President's Men, The Sting, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Natural.
Okay.
Starting there. Would love a sports one to back it up. The only sports one I thought of on the way in, and it's very snarky. If forced to watch one of these sports, which would you watch? The WNBA, soccer, and I don't know what other ones I would put up there. And that's a little snarky. Well, it's a great question, Jay Gunn, but they do have, what's thought. I mean, I still think Nussmeier can play. But it's a good point, Jay Gunn, because Miami's offense is clearly better than what LSU's is right now. Beck is playing Beck's playing as well as any quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow. I mean, it is very, very sexist there, Puck, but I like where your head's at. And I don't mean that,
Well, then you need to do league, not sport league.
Right.
Go WNBA, MLS, LPGA if you're going to do it.
So Semesco got the whole ride in, and I left a little late. I usually like to be in the car by 5:30 because I can listen to whatever they open that, Sports Center at the bottom of the hour with. I got in the car at 5:35. The only thing that they talked about my whole drive here was the Fever Dream game. For like a 4-minute drive, it was all the commentary, the dude, the people in the studio. I'm like, wow, okay. Well, you're right to an extent, Jay Gunn, but remember last year, Georgia led the country in drops. You can't put that all on Beck. Those receivers stunk.
And apparently they dropped the ball because of how much they disliked them.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So the news broke during our show yesterday, but you would like to do a poll question on it today. Is that right?
As a matter of fact, not only would I like to, I have done so.
Oh, okay.
It's the power of the keyboard, David. If I feel like putting it up, you know what? I'm going to put it up.
Well, you're in charge of poll questions. All right. What do we got?
With the passing of Robert Redford yesterday, which of these Redford films is your favorite? And it's a pretty damn good list. I mean, I'm looking at it going, how do I vote on this? All the President's Men, The Sting, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and The Natural.
Which is funny because for me, I've got 10 movies before The Natural.
And I know you would have others. I just thought we are a sports show. Let's put one of the baseball movies out there. And The Natural doesn't make my list either, but I think it would make a lot of others. I went to the Rotten Tomatoes site and kind of looked at the ones that had the best overall rankings and the ones that weren't movies that really wouldn't hit, our demo. Some of the movies he did were a little more romantic and things of that nature. So I went with movies that were more guy movies, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I do. It's between All the President's Men and The Sting to me, because I love The Sting. That to me that's on the short list of my favorite movies of all time, and that's probably where my vote will go. But the quotes from All the President's Men are so damn good that it's right there.
And he changed the movie industry. As an actor, as a director, as a promoter, a legend, an icon, and there are very few of those. But yeah, you're right. That's what it'll be for me too. And it's tough. I'll probably go All the President's Men because of, the whole journalism thing, and that's where I started. So that's probably where I'll lean. Plus, like you, I just love to sit here and say the quotes to myself and chuckle.
Exactly.
Jason Robards yelling out. Okay, he was tired of yelling out both of them, so he combined them into a name. He called them Woodstein. Okay, and I love when midway through the movie, he just starts yelling out, Woodstein, get in here.
Hank Azaria had a great little video that he put, just a selfie video that he put out about Redford. He did a movie with him very early in his career. He credits Redford for basically getting him into the movie business and just how wonderful he was. And Azaria's parents came to New York while the movie was being made, and Redford allowed them on the set, allowed them to stand behind him when he was directing and see some of the shots. And Azaria tells the story, and he says, I'm looking at my mom as if she's a 17-year-old girl with a crush. And he made the face that his mom was making towards Redford. And he said, first off, to call him Bob. He goes, I had trouble with that. And I was calling him, Mr. Red, Mr. Bob, Mr. Bob Red. He goes, and Redford asked his mother, because they lived in Florida and they were up in New York, and Redford asked Azaria's mother, so how long have you been in Florida? And she says, since Wednesday. And the father looked over and said, we've lived there 20 years. And she thought, she was answering, how long have you been in New York?
Right.
And it was just a cute story about not just, how gracious he was and how kind he was, but how kind he was to others. It was a fun story. Listening to Hank Azaria talk about Robert Redford that way was just fun stuff.
So that's our poll question. I like it. We'll come up with a sports one. We will. But that's the first one off the top of our head. Hey, did you hear the story about what happened in the U.S. mid-amateur?
Thank you. I didn't know when we were going to bring this up. And I was scared when you were going to bring this up because, well, you've attacked me over the years, and rightly so, for my love of golf rules.
Okay. This could be a poll question. This could be dumbest golf rule. Okay. Disqualifying Michelle Wee because she didn't sign her card in the designated area, or B, losing a match in the mid-amateur because your caddy took a ride in a golf cart from the green to the tee in extra holes.
In extra holes. They were going to the 20th hole and the mid-am. And I'm guessing one of the staffers who had a cart, and if you've ever been to a golf tournament, there are a lot of officials that can ride around on carts. In fact, hell, if you've watched golf, you've seen it. You know why you've seen it? Because typically when there's a playoff in golf on the PGA Tour, how do the caddies and the player get from the clubhouse to the 18th, 17th, 16th tee, wherever they are starting the playoff? And if there's another hole in the playoff, how do they get back? Because now for television, we watch players routinely play the 18th hole 2 or 3 times in a row until someone wins. The caddy accepts a ride in a cart, and a USGA official with a stick stuck straight up as you know what called a penalty because apparently he's not allowed to do so in a walking tournament, and the player loses the hole and is thus the loser of the match because his caddy took a ride to the tee.
During a round, a player or caddy must not ride on any form of motorized transportation except as authorized or later approved by the committee. If the breach occurs between the play of 2 holes, it applies to the next hole. By the way, Mark, the players were transported by cart on 2 separate occasions during the match. All right. And that's why the caddy, who, by the way, didn't ask for the ride, the caddy put the flag in the hole, got the bag, and somebody associated with the tournament said, do you want to ride to the next tee? Because he was behind the golf. And so he goes, okay, didn't know anything about it. It gets better. The opponent, because the rules official points it out, and on the tee, he's about to award him the hole, which therefore the match, because we're in sudden death. All right. The opponent says, no. I that's ridiculous. I can't take it. And the rules official says, sorry. The
rules official should be fired from any of his volunteer duties from the USGA and never be involved in the sport again. I'm not joking here. This is an absolute joke. Do you know what you get if you win the mid-am?
Apparently 14 of the 19 holes that they had been played were won by birdies. Apparently this was a spectacular match. Also,
David, if you win the mid-am, what do you get?
Oh, you go to the Masters.
The Masters is on the line, and this jackass took it away. Are you kidding me?
I know.
Oh my God, I was incensed yesterday.
The golfer who got DQ'd, well, he didn't get DQ'd, but he lost the match. He said, listen, that's my best friend. He's a great guy. Okay, blah, 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 blah. All right. I'm not blaming him at all. It's unfortunate this happened, but the caddy, who obviously felt horrible, but he said the thing that we had just ridden on these carts 15 minutes earlier. So how could I think that I'm doing anything wrong when the person on the cart said, "Do you want to ride?"
Give someone a walkie-talkie, a clipboard, and a set of keys, and they think they run the damn joint.
So there you go.
What in the absolute hell?
So there you go, Mr. Rules Guy.
No, that broke me, David. That broke me. Hell, put them all in carts. Roll it in the fairway. I don't even care anymore. Do whatever the hell you want. The sport's dead.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, "Hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September?" He says, "Well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Okay, Clark, did you just say about the Masters, I'm not sure if they could? There's nothing they can't do. It's their tournament. Sonny, the reason why no way is also it wasn't like in the semifinals or the final. It was a first round of match play. You had to win 5 more matches to win the Mid-Am. So, but yeah, I'm trying to know if I think he's from Texas. Or maybe the guy who won's from Texas. I'll have to look it up here. It was the same shuttle driver who had driven the player and the caddy from the 18th green to the first tee. I mean, come on. It's almost like it was set up. No, Sonny. The field's not limited at Augusta. It's just who qualifies. Usually it's around low 90s as to how many players are in the field, but it's who qualifies. And then they extend invitations usually to international players.
That's funny, Pause. The rules guy must be an HOA president. That is really funny. That is a really, really solid line. And Sonny, I'm with you. If I were Augusta, I would extend him an invitation. I don't think that they will, because it's not typical of Augusta to then show up the USGA for being idiots. But I was thinking it the whole time, Sonny. What you typed, I was thinking as I was speaking. Didn't say it. Have you seen Jeremiah Johnson, David? I've never seen the Redford movie, Jeremiah. I've got a couple people saying, how is that not on the list? It's his best movie. I've never seen it.
Me neither. At least I don't think I have.
And it looks like a toe tapper.
Some of his are.
Yeah, I mean, when the review says at a deliberate pace, had to laugh this morning because I took the phone and the tablet, put them in our bedroom. My wife this morning, because we have a safe in our bedroom for one of my wife's jobs. She goes, the phone and tablet are in the safe.
Wow, you guys are going.
Oh, no, the hammer was dropped.
Wow.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. If we could just get back to the story for those that have joined us in the last handful of minutes. We were talking about something that happened at the U.S. Mid-Amateur yesterday, where a match, you have to qualify for match play. They have like 150 guys, top 64 based on 2-day scores, qualify for the match play. And then based on your scores, it's 1 against 64, 2 against 63, and they play. Win 6 matches, you win the Mid-Amateur. What's prestigious about winning the Mid-Amateur? You get to go to the Masters. Okay, so this first round match, apparently an exceptional match. 14 of the 19 holes have been won by birdies. Okay, top level stuff. Golfer gets essentially DQ'd because his caddy took a ride on a golf cart between the 19th green and the 20th tee. That's my biggest problem with this. How in the world can you penalize the golfer for something that the caddy did? No. Why is that? I get it. I do. It's nitpicky if the golfer took a ride on the cart from the back of the green to the tee. The whole walking, and it's an athletic thing, and it's an essential part of the sport. You know, that they took that all the way to the Supreme Court against Casey Martin. Okay, fine. But the caddy, what could a caddy do to cost the golfer a shot, 2 shots, a hole in match play? I don't get this.
I don't either, David. There are 3 rules for a caddy in golf. and it was explained to me by someone who's on tour. They're very simple. Show up, keep up, shut up. And he wasn't keeping up because he was putting the flag in. He was the last guy. He was a little behind. And instead of sprinting to catch his golfer, someone said, "Do you want a ride?" He didn't say, "Can I have a ride?"
Right. The person on the cart, who, by the way, was the person who drove his player and him from the clubhouse to the 19th hole. Okay, so that's why when that guy then said, "Well, do you want to ride? I'll take you to the second." Sure. And he gets in. The caddy didn't initiate it. This, I don't understand. Why is it player or caddy? I don't get it. I mean, what advantage did the player get by the caddy jumping in the cart to cover, I don't know, 100 yards, 150 yards? How far? Who cares?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. The sickest story I've heard. Obviously when something tragic happens, that overwhelms all of this. But I'm just talking about flat out stupidity that makes your stomach turn for something that didn't have to happen.
It's a bad look for your sport too. I mean,
terrible.
And then the opponent who's going to win the match this way says, "I don't want it." This is the tennis equivalent. By the way, this happened in a Grand Slam. In a French Open semifinal, okay, there was a bad call, and it was on match point, and Mats Wilander was going to be awarded the match, and the referee had said, game, set, match, and Wilander walks to the chair and goes, "No, you got it wrong. I can't accept it." And the umpire's looking at him like, "I don't know what to tell you." And Wilander goes, "Well, I don't know what to tell you because I'm not leaving the court." And they replayed the point. I mean, so the guy who won didn't want to win this way. He said, I can't accept this. It's good. It's fine. Okay, let's just keep playing." And the rules official goes, "No, sorry." Because the caddy, not the player, but the caddy, took a ride for 80 yards on a cart.
The starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
All right. We just killed some time, so I got to fly through this. Did you see the ratings for the Eagles and the Chiefs?
They're pretty good, David.
And by pretty good, most watched Sunday regular season game ever. Just under 34 million. Imagine if the people who were stuck watching the Giants and the Cowboys could have watched the first half of the first quarter. Vikings put running back Aaron Jones on the injured list with a hamstring. He'll miss at least 4 games. Jags cut safety Darnell Savage. That'll cost them $4 million in dead money. Bengals promoted Brett Ripien from their practice squad. He'll be the backup to Joe Burrow. And they signed not 1, but 2 quarterbacks, Sean Clifford and Mike White, to their practice squad. So this apparently is the route the Bengals are going to take. Steelers are taking the rookie Caleb Johnson off of kick returns for now. In 2 weeks, he's had a fumble and a misplay. And boy, a lot of people not happy yesterday in the NFL when they saw that shot of Tom Brady in the coach's box.
Yeah, people are fired up about this. We'll talk about it later.
Yep, he had a headset on in the coach's box. People bent out of shape, and the NFL said, yeah, he's a minority owner. He's allowed. He abided by the rules. As long as he's not using technology that we don't allow you to use, no problem. Nothing to see here. Boy, that's not what the rest of the league is saying. College football, Gators associate head coach Jabbar Jaluki suspended 3 games by the SEC. Once again, by the way, no action taken by Napier or Scott Strickland. Apparently, there's nothing players and coaches can do to be suspended or disciplined by Strickland or Napier.
Well, David, they handle discipline internally at the University of Florida.
Mm-hmm. The SEC suspended the assistant coach 3 games for his involvement in a pregame altercation with an LSU athlete. You know, sometimes those midweek college football coaching press conferences are pretty good. And one of those instances was yesterday in Clemson, South Carolina, where Dabo was getting some hard questioning because they're not happy being 1-2, preseason top 5 and all. And so Dabo said, well, you know, if Clemson's tired of winning, they can send me on my way. I'm 55. I'm young. I'm going to be winning games for a long time, and I can do it somewhere else too. Now we're talking. Here we go.
Won the league title 8 out of 10 years. That pretty good? Is that good?
Is that Dabo or Spurrier?
Yeah. Well, I haven't worked on Dabo. Is that good? Is that good? That's what he kept going to. It was fantastic.
You had a little.
You may hear it later in the show.
You had a little HBC. I thought you worked.
I can't help it. I can't help it.
Okay. Baseball. The Mariners won their 10th straight. The big dumper hits 2. He's at 56 to tie Griffey for the franchise record. That's okay. Some teammate named Dominic Canzone hit 3. Big dumper wasn't even the player of the game, for goodness sake. They beat the Royals 12-5. They remain a half a game ahead of Houston, who nearly blew a 6-1 lead, but beat Texas 6-5. The Rangers now 4 back of the Astros for the final playoff spot. Cleveland and Detroit, they're going to play 7 times over the next week and a half. Guardians, 6.5 back in the standings when these 2 series start. Detroit gets a pinch hit, 2 out, homer in the 9th to tie it, only to have Cleveland score 4 in the 10th to win it 7-5. Detroit's leads down to 5.5, 5 in the loss column.
They could have ended Cleveland last night. You come back with 1 in the 8th, 1 in the 9th, and win that game. It would have ripped the soul out of the Guardians. But the Guardians now, I think, 4 in a row on the road, keeping hope alive, not only in the division, but they're really the only team left with the shot at the wild card, in my opinion, David.
Toronto won their 6th straight. They beat the Rays 6-5. Their lead in the East remains 5 over the Yankees. Their magic number is 6. Yankees nearly blew a 10-1 lead in Minneapolis, held off the Twins 10-9. They're 2 games ahead of the Red Sox. Red Sox fell victim to the A's, who have won 5 in a row, 2-1. By the way, Boston has now fallen a half a game behind Houston in the wild card standings. Houston technically this morning is the 5 seed and the Red Sox the 6. National League, Phillies down, I think, 5-0 going to the 6th. Scored 6 in the 6th. Ohtani throws 5 scoreless innings, gets taken out of the game, and hits his 50th homer, and they lose. 9-6 Phillies. Dodgers lead remains 2 in the West because the Padres lost to the Mets 8-3. New York with 5 in the first. They still lead the race for the final playoff spot in the National League by a game and a half over the Diamondbacks, who rallied from a 4-0 deficit to beat the Giants 6-5. Arizona's won 4 in a row. The Reds held to just 3 hits, got shut out by the Cardinals 3-0.
You ready to stick a fork in the Reds?
No, because they own the tiebreaker against the Mets. Okay, so no, but they can't lose any more ground, that's for sure. San Francisco and Cincy are both 3 back of the Mets. Reds own the tiebreaker against the Mets. Giants and Diamondbacks do not. Milwaukee beat the Angels 9-2. By the way, everybody's given the Cy Young to Paul Skeens. He's 10-10. Freddie Peralta just won his 17th game for the best team in baseball. When is winning going to matter?
In the analytic world for pitching, David, I don't know if it ever will again.
I mean, seriously, right now, Freddie Peralta is like 17-4. Paul Skeens is 10-10. I know Skeens is a better pitcher. I know his ERA is 0.6 of a run lower, but he literally, you could argue, hasn't thrown a meaningful pitch this year. And Freddie Peralta's the ace of the best team in baseball. I'm just throwing it out there for consideration. Skeens, by the way, didn't make it through the fourth last night. Cubs beat them 4-1. This youngster, Cade Horton, for the Cubs, is pitching like Arrieta did 10 years ago in the second half of 2015, by the way. The numbers are eerily similar with an ERA of under 1. Cubs have the third best record in the National League, but they're 5 behind the Brewers, whose magic number 7. Braves swept the Nats 6-3, 5-0 in 10. Chris Sale, tough luck, no decision. He threw 8 shutout innings with 9 strikeouts in the nightcap and had nothing to show for it. Marlins have won 5 of 6. They beat the Rockies 6-5. It's the 110th loss for the Rockies. That deserves a golf clap, don't you think? Orioles 8-7 over the White Sox. In golf, the season opening event in Maui is not going to happen, at least not in Maui. There's a drought. There's apparently a big argument and lawsuits involving the course and water. So the PGA said, yeah, we're still planning on playing this tournament. We just don't know where, probably in California, Arizona, or Florida. And the Masters added a media partner yesterday. Joining CBS and ESPN will be Amazon Prime. The Thursday and Friday action, which right now is limited to ESPN beginning at 3 o'clock, the Masters says, we'll give you 4 more hours of Masters. We'll give you 1 to 3 on Amazon both days. What do you say? That's right. The Masters going streaming. And listen, you say, well, they already do streaming with CBS and Paramount. Yeah, it's on CBS. Okay, for the 8 people that would then want to stream it, that's fine. I'm talking about 2 hours of the Masters with almost no commercials, and the only way you can get it is by streaming. By the way, NHL training camps are underway. The season starts in 3 weeks. Just wanted to let everybody know.
Thank you. Thank you. They just finished the prospect camps, David.
WNBA, Indiana stays alive. They routed our buddy Semesco in the Dream, 77-60. And Seattle came from 14 down, 8 down in the fourth, to beat Vegas and snap their 16-game winning streak, 86-83. The Storm will force a decisive Game 3 because the first round of the WNBA playoffs is a best of 3. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories, and don't let your caddy accept a ride on a cart here on Miller and Moulton.
So I'm watching a little bit of the Padres-Mets game, and they break in and show Cal Raleigh hit a couple of home runs on the highlights. And I'm like, the big dumper. And my wife like, that's the worst nickname I've ever heard. And they're showing him round the plate and cross home plate. And then she looks at me and she says, got to admit, that's a pretty big dumper.
See? I know we're guys, but we're not always stupid. Some of the nicknames work.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco. Whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floor Meisters. FloorMeisters.com.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports, in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Don't know. I don't think you very rarely if ever hear what Masters rights go for. Do you, David?
I have no idea what CBS pays for the Masters. No idea.
Although the one thing that I read yesterday, and I can't find it, so I don't want to get into it. I don't know if it was in an email that I may have deleted, but I thought that someone from Amazon kind of hinted that what they want is the game. Like Amazon's starting to figure out a way, how are we going to get a Super Bowl?
I think it was Sonny who talked about the tournament going to Doral. First off, they have a tournament at Doral next year, and it's a elevated event. It doesn't have a sponsor yet, but My prediction's coming true. Did you see what the word was yesterday about about the financing? That Trump came out and said to Cleveland, I want you to rename the team the Indians, and he is threatening to hold up the Commander Stadium unless they rename the team. I knew that was coming. When we did the preseason game there a month ago, I told everybody, I said, you wait. He's got to sign off on this. He's got hand.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this hump day. Let's get over it together, shall we? Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Kevin Brockway still to come on the show, but that begins an hour from now. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, the news broke during the second half of our show yesterday. Passing of movie icon Robert Redford at the age of 89. And there are a bunch of movies that could have made this list. We're already getting people telling us, you should have put this movie on. What about Sneakers? What about Downhill Racer? Goodness sakes, the guy did, 704 movies. I mean, come on. Just lighten up, everybody. Really, lighten up. So these are the 4 we choose. You don't like it? Don't vote. How about that?
Whoa. Vote for one of the 4. I would prefer you vote. It's okay. I mean, you Jeremiah Johnson fans, I've never seen it. I've been told now by 3 people it's a must watch. Maybe I'll get to it.
Okay. So anyway, favorite Redford movie? Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, The Sting, All the President's Men, and of course, we're a sports show, so The Natural.
And that's winning, by the way. Wouldn't even be on my list, but that's all right. That's why it's a poll question. It's your choice, not mine.
Yeah.
That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. How about that? Or you can text us what you think on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. Pelican Roofing of Florida, statewide, commercial and residential, 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Tell the boys Miller and Moulton sent you.
By the way, I gave you a little bit of attitude there, all right, in the first minute of this segment. You know why? Because I was practicing to be the rest of the NFL yesterday. Man, are they getting bent out of shape about this Tom Brady being in the coaching box with the headset on.
They're more upset about that than the Eagles' procedure penalties on every tush-push they did in the game against Kansas City.
It's funny how the Eagles keep turning it around. The world's against them. All right. Should have heard some of the quotes from the offensive linemen yesterday. The Eagles are what? Best franchise in the NFC. They've gone to 3 of the last 6 Super Bowls, have won 2 of them. All right. And they are playing the no respect card to the hilt. But anyway.
And look, you can't really blame the Eagles for having that attitude. That's the attitude I'd have.
Sure.
We see it. It is so funny to me because we do the show. For those of you that don't know, how you don't at this point would be beyond me, but youtube.com/Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, and you can interact with us throughout the show. Whenever we bring up something negative, or I don't even want to say negative, whenever we bring up something that's controversial with the Eagles, they get angry.
Mm-hmm.
We could even be on their side.
Right.
They don't hear it that way.
No.
No fan base puffs their chest out and says, do you want to fight? Quite like the Eagles fan base.
You want a piece of me? That's the Philly fan.
It is.
And I love them for it. I do. By the way, it's 3 of the last 8 seasons they've gone to the Super Bowl. I said 3 out of 6. It's 3 out of 8. All right, early morning math. What can I tell you? But oh my goodness, Tom Brady was A, Mark, in a coach's box.
Right.
And B, he was wearing a headset.
Right. He is the owner, right?
Well, he's a minority owner, but he's one of them.
Okay.
Right.
But on his business card, he can put part owner
Las Vegas Raiders.
Just check it. Because we used to like titles. He can have a lot of titles on his business card.
Right. So my question is, why is everybody upset? I mean, is he not allowed in the coach's box? I mean, if Mark Davis wanted to sit in between the two coordinators with a headset on, would anybody have a problem with it? I mean, he'd look even more ridiculous than he does in his current haircut. Okay, but is there a problem? He does own the team. Can he listen to the play calls and truly know what's going on?
And obviously, this all stems from the fact that not only is Brady minority owner of the Raiders, he's a Fox analyst, and therefore is now allowed, I guess, not in the production meetings themselves, but he can zoom in. Is that what the rule is with Brady? Because at first he couldn't be in the production meetings.
Right. All of last year, he could have nothing to do with the production meetings at all. He's not allowed to show up at a practice. He's not allowed in another team's facilities. And yes,
but now he can zoom in. Last year, he couldn't even be in these meetings. He's still not allowed at the facilities of other teams, right?
Correct. And the production meetings take place usually Sundays, or excuse me, I said Sundays because I'm a part of Monday Night Football, and that's when ours are. So these take place Saturday, late afternoon for the home team, early evening for the visiting team. And sometimes, by the way, you're like in college, they force the broadcasters oftentimes to go to the team hotel. Okay, the announcers have to go to them. Actually, in the NFL, they usually find a way to make it so that the players and coaches come to the broadcasters, okay, well, either through technology or in person. So,
and that is where to me, that's where the beef is that Brady's in these production meetings, so he's getting things from coaches and players, and then he's in the booth. I mean, let's get down to it. It obviously helped the Raiders a ton on Monday night that Brady was in the booth, that he was in the coaches. I mean, the Raiders won. Oh, no, they lost. No, and they got beat pretty soundly. So obviously it was a key component to the Raiders' game plan of having him in there.
To me, this goes back to the power of video. What did everybody think was going on? No, seriously. I mean, did you think Tom Brady came up with tens of millions of dollars to be a part of the Raiders franchise and wasn't going to immerse himself as much as he could with all the other things he has going on in his life and career into the inner workings of what's going on? You don't think Tom Brady? Imagine if Peyton Manning got involved in a franchise in an ownership situation. You don't think he'd be everywhere when he's not filming commercials and doing the ESPN2 thing every other Monday night? Yeah, you're damn right he would be. He wants to know what's going on. He knows a little bit about offense. You don't think he's talking to Chip Kelly during the week? We find out he apparently talks to Chip Kelly 2 or 3 times a week. And does that surprise anybody? I can't believe, first off, I can't believe the shock. I can't believe you're surprised. And I mean it. I mean, wouldn't it shock you more if he came up with all this money, took 5% of the franchise, and just hung out, didn't go to games, didn't go to practice, wasn't in the draft room? What would surprise you more?
But it's the conflict of the broadcaster and the ownership status. That's what this is about. Everything you said, I'm with you on. As an owner, he should be doing those things. Obviously, we all know his resume as a player. But David, let me just ask you, do you agree at all that this is a bad look for the NFL, that they are crossing lines with their broadcaster and ownership? If he weren't working with Fox, no one would care.
But Mark, I said this 2 years ago. I said this during his, what do they call it when you don't go from high school to college? They call it what, a gap year? Okay. When he was sitting out his gap year. Okay. He retired, but he was going to, travel the world, spend time with his kids and what have you for a year. And then he was going to start working for Fox. And it was not a secret that Brady was trying to get involved in ownership of the Raiders or any team. And I said it then. I go, this should be a major problem for the NFL. This should be a non-starter. We'd bring Pat Kerwin on. He goes, the other teams are not going to accept this. All right. This is treasonous to the other teams in the NFL. And yet the NFL allowed it, Mark.
And what, to me, the subtle irony of that is, and maybe, Brady's got a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But you got to think the $300 million contract he signed with Fox helped him have the leverage to get the money to buy 5% of the Raiders.
Sure.
So in essence, Fox financed Brady's ownership of the Raiders. It's a bad look. It is. I'm not surprised that he had headsets on, but it's a conflict of interest, and they've allowed it. And now everybody's up in arms about something that we talked about 2 years ago.
I have to admit, he looked dorky with the headsets on. Tom Brady doesn't look dorky. Good-looking guy. Okay? I mean, coming out of Michigan, maybe he was, had a little.
Yeah. That combine shot's a little dorky.
Right. But it's been a long time since Tom Brady's looked dorky. I mean, it's been
let's be honest. When he was helped off the boat in Tampa because he couldn't handle his liquor.
Well, he didn't look dorky. He looked hammered.
Hey, to me, he looked dorky. He looked like a guy. Really, you can't. You had a couple of drinks and you're falling down drunk at a parade.
Well, that's true. That part of him, right? Oh, dude, come on, handle it.
I mean, come on.
Especially since it was still like 3 PM. It's like you're this hammered at 3 PM.
Right? He looked like a Karen at the Villages, for crying out loud.
Where are my beads? What happened to my red hat? I just can't believe that people got all bent out of shape yesterday. What did you think was going to happen?
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
So I asked him at Floor Meisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floor Meisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floor Meisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring. Best service at the best prices. Floor Meisters, floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I don't forget who mentioned Spygate in association with Brady. Come on, you can't put that on Brady. That's on Belichick. I mean, players had nothing to do with Spygate. Come on. That's just you showing how much you don't like him or the Patriots. I feel badly for Burkhardt because you can get some real insight in those production meetings. And even though Brady's, not a part of them, they ain't going to tell EA or Rinaldi or Burkhardt anything because they know they're going to tell Brady. So when a coach said that his quarterbacks couldn't play, and I don't mean injured, when he just flat out said, yeah, can't play.
By the way, have you seen the latest on this whole Pablo Torre Clippers? I mean, he got basically 5 executives from that company, former executives from that company, to say they totally disagreed with the Leonard deal and questioned everything about it. And like, the NBA and the Clippers, we did in Cuban, we did nothing. He keeps coming out with facts. I don't think a damn thing's going to happen, mind you, but it is interesting. Be fascinating if Stern were still running the league.
Oh, no. It'd be over. Done. They'd be lining up the next owner of the Clippers. Or he'd be suspended. It'd be a Steinbrenner suspension. It'd be 2.5 years.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett, the top of the hour. Bud Elliott, a little more than an hour. Our bonus hour, Kevin Brockway, to talk a little Gators. Normally we have Chris Perkins on a hump day in our bonus hour, but Chris is traveling to Buffalo. So it's more convenient for Chris if we do it tomorrow. So tomorrow, by the way, is an NFL extravaganza on Miller and Moulton. Roy Cummings with the Bucks, Chris Perkins with the Dolphins, J.P. Shadrick with the Jags. Back to back to back. A Miller and Moulton NFL extravaganza.
Really want to talk to Perk because I've only been to Buffalo once, and it was a quick in and out trip, and I didn't even have a Buffalo. Like, I did not have a wing when I was in Buffalo. It was a fly. It happens sometimes when you work in, and that's when I was traveling in the business. Sometimes you're in and out. You have time to do zip. So I'm hoping, I want to see where his go-to spot for wings is. He's obviously been covering the Dolphins. He goes to Buffalo once a year. He's got to have a couple of spots.
Agreed. And since he will have arrived today, okay, in theory, he should have already hit at least one. And may have a second one lined up for lunch tomorrow when he's talking to us shortly after breakfast.
I'd probably have wings 3 meals a day if I was in Buffalo. I'd be checking out a few spots because there are a couple in Southwest Florida that serve a good wing, but there are plenty that leave a little bit to be desired, if you know what I mean.
So, how much heat do you think Dabo's really getting in Clemson, or do you think that Dabo's just not used to any? So when he gets a smidge, just a little bit, that it feels to him like they're coming to get him?
Well, David, I think there's a lot more than you think. And you have far more sources than I have. But I have a couple here and there. And mine are not the usual ones. They're not in the biz. But I have a good friend who lives up in that area. He is a golf pro at a very high-end club. And we were texting on Sunday because he happens to be a big Cincinnati Bengals fan. So we were going back and forth when Burrow went down, and the conversation shifted to Clemson. And the membership at this particular club are of the like to be high-level donors.
You mean they're paying Dabo's salary?
Yes. And they're pissed. And he didn't even, he said a lot of them are, but he kind of pointed to one particular person that he knows for a fact, is in Florida, the Bull Gator status and an upper level Bull Gator status.
Right. Like he was that guy at Auburn where basically if he wanted change happened.
And those folks are starting to grow tired of the Dabo act.
I don't think it's an act, though.
I don't either. But you know what?
Right. I know.
It's his act.
Just his personality, right?
It's genuine.
Right.
You're right, David. It's genuine. I mean, he is by all accounts, he walks the walk and talks the talk. And I mean spiritually, how he coaches, how he lives his life. I mean, there's no dirt on Dabo being a bad person.
No.
Dabo, by all accounts, is a really good human being. He wears his faith on his sleeve, but he lives that life. It's one thing to wear it on your sleeve and then you hear other things. You don't hear that about Dabo. And that's all well and good when you're winning. And right now, they thought, and everybody thought, me, David, anybody that covers this sport, you ask them what, I may ask Bud, what were you most wrong about preseason?
So far.
I mean, because he had Alabama in the national championship game. And hey, I'll be honest with you. After the Florida State game, that looked like an impossibility. When I look at the SEC, I don't have a clue who the best team is. You could put 7 teams in a hat, pick out 2 that are going to go for the championship game. Your guess is as good as mine right now.
So what you're saying is that when the Tennessee kicker was lined in that kick up in regulation, the answer was Tennessee, and then a few minutes later, the answer was Georgia?
Maybe. Right. So Dabo, and I can't find a short clip, and that's on me. Should have done better. I apologize to you, the audience. But he was asked about the team, and Dabo went about as scorched earth as he gets. Started talking about how many years they've been to the playoff, how many titles they've won in their conference. And then he threw out, is that good? I don't know. Is that good? But he's getting heat. And I don't think he reacted that way, David, because the media challenged him. I think he's getting it on all sides right now. And I fully believe that he can handle the pressure. He's done an amazing job as a coach. He resisted the portal forever. What did he do this year? He did similarly to what Nick did at the end at Bama and what Kirby does at Georgia. Handpicked the 3 or 4 spots that he thought he had a need and went out and filled that need. But they've fallen on their face. And I said it to you earlier this week. In watching that Clemson-Georgia Tech game, what stuck out to me more than anything was the lack of speed for Clemson. They used to have burners everywhere. Big, fast defensive linemen that would go play on Sunday. And that's the other side of this. Many people still think this is a roster that's got 6 guys that are going to get drafted and play on Sunday. And when you have that kind of talent and you're losing to Georgia Tech and losing to LSU, it's 2 good teams. We give Notre Dame the benefit of the doubt, David, for losing to A&M and Miami. Clemson's getting 0 benefit of the doubt for losing to what I think is a good Georgia Tech team and obviously a pretty good LSU team. LSU offense hasn't looked good, but that defense is spectacular. And it wasn't a year ago.
Quote, if they want me gone, then they can send me on my way. If they're tired of winning, they can send me on my way. I won't stop. I'm 55. I'll go somewhere else and win. I ain't going to the beach. We've won this league 8 of the last 10 years. Is that good? I've got a long memory in case you all don't know.
That was the line I loved right there. That was the line I loved. Basically, I'm turning this around. We're playing for the ACC title, and I'm going to remind you all what you said to me in September.
Dabo's going to come to his next press conference and say, can I read you the 25 years of Clemson football before you guys gave me the job on an interim basis? And the only reason you hired me to be the permanent replacement was because you were paying 2 other coaches and I was cheap. And then he can go through, yeah, we were 6-6, finished tied for 7th. Okay, and he can just rattle through a generation of Clemson football. Yeah, I got to admit, I like Dabo's case before the jury more than I like the boosters.
There's no doubt. But I don't think he's faced this pressure before. Because when everything was rolling, it was fine. In a couple of off years, he got away with it based on what happened prior. But this year, the expectations have been as high as they've been in 5 years.
Yes.
And thus far, they are not living up to expectations.
Yes. Since Trevor Lawrence, yes, this was supposed to be their best team. And so far, it is not. Of course, if he gets to the ACC title game and wins it, he'll be in the playoff, and, well, all is fine.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Baxberg. I saw that. I love a good conspiracy, but
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Seth Everett, Bud Elliott, Kevin Brockway, pinch hitting, if you will, for Chris Perkins. Perk traveling to Buffalo because the Dolphins are Thursday Night Football. Sell it, Mark. No. Try. Come on. Amazon's paying you. Sell it.
Will it be the last game for Mike McDaniel? All hope riding on the Finns Thursday night. Could there be a new coach by Friday morning? Tune in and see Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. Plus, we'll have Peter the dog.
Whoa. You went there.
Hey, you told me to sell it. I'm doing my best for you. Whatever you need.
I like it.
Whatever you need.
I tell you what, I'll bet you we see the dog tomorrow night. There's no doubt in my mind. We'll see. They're going to have time to fill tomorrow night. Al at one point is going to turn to Kirk late third quarter and say, do whatever you want, buddy. Do whatever you want.
The funny thing is, hasn't Miami, and I don't have the scores in front of me, Miami they lose to Buffalo. They lose, but don't they play reasonably competitive games?
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. Okay, but the question is, I mean, the last 5 years, the Dolphins had 4 winning seasons, and last year they were 8-9. They've been a pretty good team with no playoff wins to show for it. Now, I think many of us are like, yeah, they're no longer a pretty good team. That's the difference. And the Bills may be the 1 seed in the AFC.
No, I know, but sometimes, particularly in divisional games, it's not the same. But the season opener, Cincinnati and Cleveland, for whatever reason, Cleveland's not been good. But Cincinnati goes to Cleveland and doesn't win. And they struggled again and, probably shouldn't have won that one.
Yeah, 9 total yards in the second half. Not many teams win with 9 total yards.
No, I understand. You know what I'm saying. Like, in divisional games, strange things happen.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But, yeah, what's the line? Like 12.5, 13 for tomorrow night?
Yes.
Which in the NFL is...
That's a monster number.
Yeah, that's a really big line. That's like Oklahoma State being 28-point dogs at Oregon. I mean, when you start getting into the teens in the NFL, that's
11 and a half now.
So okay. Money coming in on
the Fins, baby.
All right. Speaking of pressers, by the way, man, once again, it's your image. And I shouldn't have a say at all in how a team runs an organization. Unfortunately, nobody's been stupid enough to hire me in that respect. But man, I would love to work for an organization and just be able to talk to the coaches about, okay, you're going to go before the cameras and the microphones. This is what they're going to ask you. What's your answer? Oh, I'll figure it out. No, actually, you won't. No, we're going to discuss it right now. I mean, you gotta, it's obvious Mike McDaniel doesn't care. No, seriously. I mean, I'll give that about it. He doesn't care about the noise and, his answer immediately after the game in which he said, if I'm worried about that, it's true because he ain't worried about a damn thing image-wise. He ain't worried about his appearance at all, and it shows. Because he ain't looking real good right now. And that's just, all that's doing is getting a very angry fan base angrier. And I don't know how that helps the cause. His or theirs.
But at the same time, don't you agree when McDaniel said, I can't worry about my job. If I'm worried about keeping my job, I'm not doing my job. That's accurate.
It is.
You can't be going to the microphone going, yes, I'm terribly worried that I'm going to get fired after the Buffalo game, and my only thought is my self-preservation. How would that be met?
Badly.
He is in a no-win situation. It's done. I mean, you look at the players. Pat Kerwin said it. His co-host Jim Miller, he talked about the players-only meeting. J.J. Watt had a little video in which he's talked about players-only videos or players-only meetings and just they don't work. So here we are 2 games into the season, and everybody knows what the conclusion of the Miami Dolphins year is. Now it's a matter of how high up they're going to draft.
The only hope, because they're not going to win tomorrow. I mean, that might be the upset of the year in the NFL if they win tomorrow in Buffalo. Although I do think there's a chance that the Bills don't arrive with their A game. There's a part of me that thinks that they genuinely don't like and respect the Dolphins, so they'll lay it on them. But there's another part of me that thinks, usually after a really big game, it's tough to sustain the high. The Bills sustained it last week against the Jets. Do they sustain it also against the Dolphins? They may. But there's a part of me that thinks that there's a B- performance coming from the Bills. And the Bills fan may say, yeah, actually, that was the Jets game. Josh didn't score a touchdown. I know we won by 20, but, Josh didn't score a touchdown. That's a B- game for us. Okay. But, Mark, after the Bills game, they've got the Jets and the Panthers. Jets at home, I believe. Carolina on the road. I mean, come on.
And here we are. The Jets, looked good against Pittsburgh. Were awful against Buffalo. Fields in concussion protocol.
I mean, so that's why, it's kind of like everybody burying Napier. Okay, first off, I think the bye week helps him and the team. And then secondly, that Texas game at home, it was going to be a big game if they beat South Florida and they were 2-1 playing the Canes. Now they could be 1-3 playing the Longhorns, and it'll be the season.
But the ironic part about that is if somehow because what's Texas done to make you think they're world beaters right now? When have they looked good this year?
Arch and the Longhorns got booed off the field Saturday at halftime. Booed off the field.
So, as we've said a few times this week, if they lose to the Canes, okay, if they beat Texas, they're sitting just fine.
They're 1-1 in the SEC.
That's all that matters. Your path to the playoff is winning your conference. They could still do that. Do we think they're going to? No. But in this SEC, as much as the offense has looked pathetic, and that's all on Napier, their defense has been fantastic.
We mentioned it, but we should have been more concerned about Lagway. The fact that he had an injury that went back to last season and it was taking so long to heal. Then he had another injury and he was missing all this practice time. All right. And then against LIU, he couldn't move. He looked immobile. We should have been more concerned about Lagway. And when I say we, I mean all the media. And we'll have Kevin Brockway on in a little over an hour. We all should have been a little bit more leery. I don't know about concern's the right word. We should have been a little more leery about Lagway. Because A, he's definitely not 100% physically, and there's no doubt it's affecting him because he's lousy right now.
And he said so. I think that was his exact quote. I was something like along the lines of, I was awful. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you were.
Well, he cost him one game. What if he can win him a game? Because nobody thinks it's happening Saturday, even though the spread's what, like 7.5, 8?
But right now, do you see a path? Do you see a path for the Gators against Miami to get to 24 or more?
Would probably need a turnover. That would have to be the path with the way the offense has performed thus far.
Because I don't see a running game. And they expected, to your point of DJ being injured throughout the offseason, his legs have been kind of taken away here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what made him so dynamic, is obviously his ability to be a dual threat guy. When you take the dual threat away, LSU was able to sit back and pick their spots and pick him off 5 times.
And the Canes beat Notre Dame at home, embarrassed South Florida at home. Now they get the Gators at home. And they are staring an undefeated showdown in a couple weeks with Florida State.
Which, by the way, game day has no choice.
I know. I know.
Look at the slate that day. They have if those two teams, and they both, Florida could win. But if Miami gets past the Gators, there's nothing in front of the Noles between now and then.
No. I mean, it would be a much more surprising choice of game day to not be in Tallahassee on October, 4th, than it was a surprising choice for game day to be in Coral Gables this Saturday. A lot of people taken aback by that.
And I guess, because they could have easily done the Auburn-Oklahoma game.
Could have. I mean, they also could have done a Big 12 game day, but I hear you. Texas Tech, Utah.
I understand, but the big noon kickoff's going to be there. It'd be the second time they're both at the same place.
Yeah.
Promoting a game that's on Fox, so.
That show's supposed to be above that, though, but I hear you. We all know.
It was above that. It's not anymore.
No, it's a game. It is. So.
Miller and Moulton. Our poll question has to do with Robert Redford movies with his passing yesterday. We put 4 up. You've been chiming in with others that you love, and we appreciate it on the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. But right now, almost 40% of you saying The Natural is your favorite Redford movie. Butch Cassidy in second, The Sting, which was my choice third, All the President's Men in last place. Hurts a little bit, doesn't it, David?
It's understandable, though. It's not a sexy, subject matter. It's about Nixon and Watergate and journalism. I mean, does anybody like any of those 3 subject matters?
Not in today's climate. No, actually, as a matter of fact, they don't.
I mean, I don't believe there's any sex in the movie either. So.
No, there's barely a woman in the movie.
Exactly. It is impressive, though, about how many people are smoking and where they're smoking. That might be the sexiest part of the movie.
Man, it's a really solid take there.
Man, did we smoke everywhere. Golly. Whew. So I know All the President's Men's going to finish last. It's
Hurts.
okay.
I know.
No, it doesn't. It does. It's understandable. But it got my vote. It did.
Miller and Moulton, the Great Eight coming up. We'll talk with Seth Everett. We'll talk with Bud Elliott. And then the top of the 9 o'clock hour, we will revisit what's going on in Gainesville because there's nothing to talk about, nothing to see here. Kevin Brockway will join us at 9 to talk the Gators.
Miller and Moulton. Make sure you vote in our poll question. Chime in on the text line. What's the sponsor of that text line again, Mark?
That's Pelican Roofing of Florida, statewide, commercial or residential. Call them today for all your roofing needs. 1-866-9-PELICAN. Yes, it sounds like it's one too many numbers, but we've dialed it. It works. Don't worry. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters, floormeisters.com.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hi, Seth.
Shalom. What's up?
Same old stuff. A little of this, a little of that.
I have to go to the airport in half hour. I have my interview for Global Entry.
Oh, okay.
And that is such a menial statement, but it's such a big hurdle for me. Before COVID, I applied for this and was denied. and I had no idea why. What would be on my passport? What's on my record that would deny me global entry? I have a passport, but what was the reason? I tried to apply through the Freedom of Information Act and couldn't find it. And 6-7 years later, I reapplied, and now I have my interview. And this is like, I gotta know. The mystery will be solved.
Okay.
Very excited.
And what does global entry get you?
It's like TSA pre, but for international.
Okay.
I'm going to England in December.
So Clear doesn't do that?
I don't know. But Clear's a fortune. Global entry is not that expensive.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like I have TSA pre.
Right. I do as well, but I don't
right.
I don't travel that much anymore, so it's not that important to me.
Well, the bigger thing is not that I got denied. It's why. What a lot of people speculate that it's my name, because my legal name is not Everett, but that's what I'm known by.
Right.
Could that be it? Could it be that my father was born in Havana, Cuba? What would that have to do? He was an American citizen and he's dead. So what's the difference? Like, I have no idea. And it's been like, my ex-wife used to think that I was hiding something, that I was wanted by the FBI or some nonsense, and that I was hiding it. And it's been a fight that we've had for almost a decade. And today I'm going to get the answers.
Nice.
Hi, David.
Hi, Seth.
The Natural is by far the best movie. But All the President's Men is a great, great movie.
Yeah, I would go The Sting, All the President's Men, Butch Cassidy, then The Natural out of the four. That's how
fair.
I would put the four up there. But
that's fair.
There's
All
no
the President's Men, though, is in a cluster of, with Spotlight and that new September 5 movie that came out last year about the ABC Sports crew that went to cover the Olympics.
Excellent.
These are all movies about the, like, if you watch any of these movies, you fall in love with the media.
Yeah, that was when, we did things a little differently then.
That movie, that Munich movie, it's an incredible movie. But All the President's Men is a fantastic film. Jason Robards.
Mm-hmm. It's funny how we think of him, and then actually they add up the number of lines he had and number of minutes he was in the movie. It's pretty small.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Just past the midway point of Miller and Moulton in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers and Naples. Final hour of the show, Lake City, Live Oak surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. Thanks for being with us on this hump day. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett, kind enough to join us once again. He of the two terrific podcasts, Sports with Friends and Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett, Seth_Everett. How are you this Wednesday?
I am fine this morning. I know you talked about this on the show, but there's no way Tom Brady should be allowed to go in the booth there.
Why not?
Why?
No.
Well, first off,
no. Why? Give us a reason. He's the owner. He's a minority owner of the team. The owner of
the proprietary information that he can then bring and give to other teams, or he can get proprietary information from his dealings with Fox and give that to the Raiders. It is shady as all.
Well, hold on. Okay. I think we're all
and he
in
deflated
agreement.
Those footballs.
I think, which has nothing to do with this. I think we're all in agreement, okay, that we have issues with the NFL allowing him to be both a minority owner of a team and broadcast the games. But since the NFL is apparently okay with it under certain conditions, How can he not be allowed, as the minority owner of the Raiders, to be in the Raiders coach's box?
Because I'm shocked that the NFL would allow something like that.
Well, but
I'm shocked.
Seth, we're with you there, but that's 2 years old. I mean, that is,
I know, but it was glaring on Monday, and
was it glaring? They scored 9 flipping points. How much proprietary information did he have to help the Raiders?
It's not that. You hear things. He goes into those other meetings. He knows stuff. He has access that no one else has. And why? Because he won 6 Super Bowls?
Well, it was 7.
And he's a deflator.
Seth, this to me,
I want to get him off Fox. That's my goal.
You don't like Tom Brady.
I don't.
So you have a preconceived notion about someone that has influenced your opinion on this. If all of a sudden Troy Aikman bought into the Dallas Cowboys, would you have the same problem?
Yeah, get him off Fox. Yeah. Or get him off ESPN. Yeah.
But
it's apples to apples. That's the exact same thing. It's not just that I'm picking on Tom Brady. It's that Tom Brady is getting proprietary abilities that everyone else doesn't get.
Now, Seth, I agree with you. Okay. Also, as somebody who's been in those production meetings, and I know what can be said. The one thing I will say is I now feel bad for Burkhardt and Aaron Andrews and Tom Rinaldi. They ain't getting squat, because if Brady's able to listen
That's
in,
right.
Okay, no, seriously, they're getting nothing. And you get a lot of really good info.
100%.
If nothing else, you get background info. It's like, listen, you can't use this, but I will tell you this. And then when something happens, you'll know why. You can get a lot of research layers given to you in those production meetings, and you're getting them from the head coach and from the coordinators and the quarterback. I mean, you're getting it from the top of the food chain, if you will, and they ain't getting squat.
I know.
Now.
And Boomer Esiason made a point. I'm not taking none of these ideas are mine, but Boomer Esiason made a great point where he said he goes into these rooms with Fox and he's interviewing quarterbacks. And if he, because he's Tom Brady and he buddies up to Sam Darnold, could that all of a sudden Sam Darnold say, wow, I want to go play with Tom Brady and be part of the Raiders. And he could be recruiting while he's in these rooms. It is shady upon shady. You might as well let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame.
First off, could you not bring that up until it's like a Tuesday in July? Okay, that's when you bring that up, not on a Wednesday in football season.
Did you and did you also see there's a great article in the Wall Street Journal this morning? The batting champion in the National League is hitting 305.
It
Fantastic.
was lower a couple of weeks ago. I think I forget, was it Freddie Freeman who 2 weeks ago was leading the National League at 302 or 303?
Yikes.
Seth, it doesn't matter anymore. And the NFL said that Brady's Fox gig doesn't matter except for a few conditions. So what are we to say? I can't believe the other owners allowed it.
And my problem with anything, Seth, is that because he's making $350 million over 10 years from Fox, that Fox essentially financed his purchase, help
of the Raiders,
finance his purchase of the Raiders.
This whole thing seems so shady. I just don't get it. It's not NFL.
But Seth, don't you think that the reason, and you hadn't brought it up for at least 12, 18 months, but it's because you saw the 6 seconds, okay, of him in the booth with the headset on. By the way, he looked very dorky, and it's tough to make Tom Brady look dorky, okay, but that was it. It was a video. It was kind of like Ray Rice. Remember, the Ray Rice story was a very minor story.
Right.
He was getting a 2-week suspension. Why? We didn't have any video. Soon as we had video, he done. Over.
But Tom Brady wasn't in an elevator. But yeah, no, I understand.
No, but you know what I mean.
I know.
Conceptually, we've known this story for 2 years. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, on a bad Chargers Raiders
I read an
game?
article. I read an article. I didn't even see the Monday night game. I just read an article and I couldn't get over it. I don't know.
But Seth,
yeah, maybe it is because I don't like Tom Brady.
I know it is.
Yeah.
And I know that I think that's where a lot of this vitriol comes from, is that Brady's super polarizing. There are a lot of people that, that hated the Patriots and therefore hated him and the Deflategate and all those things. And here's an opportunity to poke a hole in the quarterback who's won more Super Bowls than anybody else.
That was one of the first things when my kid could talk. First things I taught her was the word cheater. It was right during Deflategate.
Really?
Yep.
That was it? You sure it wasn't Cheetos?
Should have been suspended for that Super Bowl.
I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it wasn't hit and run.
You know what's fun? And I'm being 100% honest. I never think of Deflategate when I think of Brady. I think this story is now Spygate, I think, should have been massive.
Yeah.
Deflategate,
that was a cover-up,
I think, is a bad joke. Everybody was altering the footballs the way they wanted it. His just happened to be maybe the most underinflated. Okay, but seriously, the NFL is as much at fault because they allowed each team to basically bake the cookies the way they wanted to bake them.
That's right. That right there. That's what happened, David. We learned how they made the sausage. We never want to know how the sausage is made, and we found out, and then we associated Brady with it.
Oh, that was so much fun. Saying that he should have been suspended for that Super Bowl. Oh my God, that was such a fun bit. Oh my God, I
that got you you got a lot of airtime in a lot of places over that, didn't you?
I did. I had a lot of fun with that bit. That was a good one.
Now the Spygate story should have been massive.
Yeah, massive. But that's more Belichick, right?
Yes,
100%.
Yes. Listen, Spygate to me is much bigger than Bountygate, and Sean Payton lost a year.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
Bountygate, first off, they've been Buddy Ryan used to let us know what the bounty was on the quarterback each week at his weekly presser. I mean, seriously. And the NFL acted so shocked that there was a bounty put on Favre in the NFC title game.
The other thing that I almost did our little group text over the weekend, on the Sunday, not the Sunday night or Monday night or Thursday night, 10 of 12 games were one-possession games in the fourth quarter. This league is on fire.
Yeah. Has been for years. That doesn't.
But the funny thing is, we talk about competitiveness, right? The three of us, when we talk about competitiveness, and does the NBA have competitiveness? Baseball's competitiveness has been under scrutiny. The NHL does a wonderful job with competitive balance. The NFL, man, that is a fantastic league when you can have 10 of 12 games and only two blowouts. That's incredible.
By the way, the league that we all love, the NHL, a couple of the stars starting to make some noise wanting the playoff format changed. I don't think it's going to do anything, but it is interesting that Bettman wants it one way and the players are like, yeah, he's wrong.
Yeah. There's been a controversy for the 10 Devils fans because Luke Hughes is negotiating a contract and he wants a 5-year deal, so he syncs up with Jack and Quinn.
Right. And both brothers are on the record saying they want to play with each other.
They want to play with each other.
You got the two teams because they're playing for different teams, and both teams feel stuck.
But then Jack did an interview and said, "You numbskulls, why can't it be in New Jersey? Like, why are you just assuming that we all want to leave?" And that was a great point too. Yeah, that's a controversy to literally no one, but it may be just my apartment building that cares.
Well, Miller and Moulton are paying attention because we're big hockey folks. All right, got about a minute. So what podcast we doing this week? Sports with Friends or Hall of Justice?
Sports with Friends. 1969 world champion Art Shamsky joins me. Art Shamsky was the outfielder. He hit 300 in the 1969 World Series. He has a new book out, and I've known him for 20 years, and we explain on the podcast, why do I know Art Shamsky, and why have I known Art Shamsky for 20 years? Great guy, fantastic interview. Very little anything on today's baseball. This is just memories and stories and his life and how often he milks the fact that he was a 1969 Met every single day.
Well, when they've only won one title since, you get to milk it for a lot longer than you should be able to. Yeah.
Correct. I am super in favor of Mr. Shamsky doing that. It's a great podcast.
Seth Everett, Sports with Friends, Hall of Justice. For right now, they're every other week. There's a reason for that. We may get to it someday. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. Seth_Everett. Seth, all the best talking to your apartment building, which apparently is who you're talking to.
We have meetings. Meetings. Tom Brady should have been suspended for that Super Bowl.
Right. He's going to end up running your apartment building one day just to spite you. Miller and Moulton. Bud Elliott in 25 minutes time. Kevin Brockway next hour.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It might be a little late, but I think I have our sports bowl question if we want it.
All right. What is it?
Should the players get paid to participate in the Ryder Cup? Because the Americans are now getting paid. The Euros are not.
I'm going to write it down and save it.
Okay.
Because I like it.
For next week,
Next
maybe?
week. Yeah.
Okay.
Circles and arrows are starting on the damn page again. My notes just see this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. A poll question. Passing of Robert Redford. We throw 4 of his acclaimed movies in a poll question. Say which one of them was your favorite, from The Sting to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, which got my mom's vote, by the way. She said, come on, it had everything.
You're right. It's a great movie. It's when I listed them and I didn't have that second or even first, just saw a great clip from that movie when they're on the cliff and Redford's trying to get the shot and Newman's like, well, jump. And he said, I'm not going to jump. And Redford finally says, I can't swim. And Newman just laughs hysterically and says, well, the fall's probably going to kill us.
So All the President's Men, The Natural, The Sting, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, those are the 4 movies we put into a question. We're very familiar with the fact he did other classic movies. We are. You have to narrow it down to 4. Come on, you know how it works. Play along at home. Or don't play along at home. Either way. But don't complain. It's a poll question. Come on.
Whichever one you want. You know what? If you want to complain, text line's open. Pelican Roofing in Florida text line 21,000 is the number. Miller's the keyword. If you've not texted the show in a while, I'll take all of your complaints. Some of you were complaining about things just during that break, and we were going back and forth. I don't mind.
You mentioned something earlier. We're a ways away from this, in my opinion. I think we're 10 to 12 years away. But we talked about 10 and 15 years ago when you and I were in afternoons. We talked about, will the time ever come that we have a pay-per-view Super Bowl? And then, if so, what's your price point?
And we were doing this show really and truly before streaming was a thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I mean, Amazon Prime didn't exist. I'm not even sure if Netflix was around when we were talking about. If it was still the send you DVD Netflix, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But pay-per-view at that point was where we were watching UFC fights or a big boxing match.
Yeah.
And we asked the question, what if the Super Bowl goes to pay-per-view, and what would you pay to watch? At that time, I think we were thinking $50. I think that was our number.
Yeah, we thought we'd keep it at $49.99 or $95, and that people that's as high as they would go, and would you pay it, and blah blah blah. Well, then what's the difference if one day the Super Bowl's on Amazon?
Well, it's because I guess people would get Amazon, David, as a one-off for that game, probably.
Yes.
But for most of us now, you've either made the choice to dive into a lot of different streaming platforms, and you're not just getting them to watch the Super Bowl. You're not just trying to, if you have Amazon Prime, you're not just watching, you watch shows on it, whatever the case may be. Netflix, you're watching shows on it. By the way, apparently, and I did not stay up. It was late. I was watching the prelims, and they weren't yet at the Crawford Canelo fight, but the numbers apparently of the fight on Netflix did pretty well. Of the fight Saturday night, did really nice audience.
Crawford kicked the tar out of him,
and by all accounts, I was going to go watch the replay, but by all accounts, it didn't get going until later in the fight. The first 8 rounds were a little lackluster. The big punches were late in the fight, and they hadn't started that fight when Notre Dame and A&M had finished.
Right. Right.
Because if they had started, I would have probably sucked it up and watched. But they were in, I want to say, round 3 or 4 of the fight before that. And I'm like, I just can't do it.
My understanding is that they're having a rematch. And Crawford, moved up, 2 weight classes?
Yeah.
To fight him? No, I mean, Canelo is 35. I mean, he's not the guy we remember. But anyway, Amazon, for what it's worth, and there's, streaming numbers are tough to pin down, whether it's ratings or subscribers. For whatever reason, they're not as forthcoming as they should be. So, as of late last year, Mark, the guesstimate as to how many people had Amazon Prime worldwide was 200 plus million. Now, remember, we got 330 million people just in the U.S. Okay. But subscribers, Amazon subscribers 9 months ago guesstimated between 200 and 220 million.
Okay. Seems like a pretty big number. I know you use the population, but obviously we all know you only need 1 subscription per household.
Exactly. And number of people per household. And so, right. So that's more households than there are in the United States. Okay. I mean, because I don't believe there's 220 million households in the U.S. So, but what is the difference? If you remember what your reaction was 10, 12, 15 years ago to when the hypothetical, and boy, did it seem hypothetical then, of a pay-per-view Super Bowl. Well, wouldn't signing up for a streaming service just to be able to get, I mean, how many of us, honestly, how many of us have a streaming service because of one show or one sport? I mean, there's one TV show as to why I pay, I think it's now $17 a month for Apple TV. I'm paying $200 a year to watch a 10 to 13 week run of a certain show. And I know I could cancel it after the 3 months, but I don't. Like many of us don't.
Yeah, we finally dumped Peacock. That was the one we had. The wife wanted it, the Olympics, the whole gymnastics thing, and we had it for a bunch of months after. And we really only canceled it, David, because my wife was paying for it. And she's like, I'm not paying for this anymore. You want it? You pay for it.
What's she going to do? And by the way, your wife is Mrs. Olympics. Did you remind Mrs. Olympics that they start up again in 5 months of the winter variety?
We'll wait.
Okay. All right. But
there hasn't been yet a Big Ten football game that I need to watch on Peacock.
Right. So I know it sounds, oh my goodness, the NFL on streaming on Amazon. Yeah, but what was the difference when 10, 15 years ago we were talking about it being a one-off pay-per-view event like a UFC card or a fight? Okay,
I guess the only difference, one, first off, you get a lot with Amazon Prime. I mean, that's a tough one to throw at because Amazon Prime includes, obviously all the shopping that you get and the free shipping and all of the things that come with that. You get just from a football standpoint, you get a game every Thursday, so you wouldn't be paying for a one-off. It's an annual. So it's a little different than maybe if it were a Netflix, if you know what I mean, where you could just grab it for a month and pay your whatever it is, $20 a month now for Netflix. So I understand what you're saying. I also think the consumer's evolved. We know this is what's next. And we're lapdogs. We are. I gotta get YouTube TV to watch Sunday Ticket. Okay, I'll get YouTube TV. I gotta have Amazon Prime to watch Thursday. Okay.
You sound like that bear from the cartoon. You're Fozzie Bear. What happened there?
I like Fozzie Bear. I'm a big fan of the Muppets.
By the way, Paul in our Twitch chat room, college football title game or Super Bowl? Which goes to streaming first? Super Bowl.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. ESPN's got the college monopoly right now. That ain't going anywhere until further notice. But Elliott next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
What's going on, guys?
Hi, bud.
Hey, man. Well,
Wednesday, talking football with
That's
you.
right. College football on a Wednesday, man.
That's right.
I'm sorry you caught me off guard. I thought it was a trick question. Okay. What were you
Bud,
doing, Mike?
what's the best
My
bourbon you-
dad says, we're like, what you up to? He's like, well, about the right weight if I was 6'9".
What's the best bourbon you've had recently, bud?
Oh man. I'm actually kind of partial to some of these Penelope releases. That Estate series is so nice.
Is it? I was looking at that yesterday. I got my birthday was recently, and I got a
It's
gift
sneaky
card for
good.
Total Wine. I got the toasted Penelope.
That's
And
very good too.
I like it, and I got a couple bottles of Weller's, so it's hard. I'm like, that Weller's is just really good.
Now, I mean, I do get it for free, which also helps. But like,
What the hell? How'd you pull that?
one of the folks at Penelope is a huge fan of the show, and I pretty frequently wear Penelope gear because
Okay.
they make these great Peter Millar polos. I'm like, yeah, I mean, okay, if you want to send me like really nice polos and bourbon,
That's an all-time sponsor right there. Give them the link to our show for crying.
You guys also love Penelope. Look at that. Wow. Oh my gosh. This
Get any mileage? Get any mileage from Dabo yesterday?
I was actually out with some non-work stuff yesterday, but I'm probably going to have to discuss on the show today how I'm going to just dig up all my old Bobby Bowden articles, because this is very similar to what Bobby said on the way out. Like they won't win without me. Like they've never been anything without me type thing. Except Clemson has won without Dabo before.
Danny Ford though was 1983 or 81 or whatever. I mean,
that's true.
I mean, come on. See, if I'm Dabo and I want to double down on this, I said earlier, Bud, I'm reciting the generation before I took over. I'm going year by year. Okay, it's going to take 10 minutes, folks. Let me just give you a little Clemson football history lesson, because obviously you haven't been taught this in school.
Right.
And then I'd give it the 20 years of Clemson football before Dabo Swinney.
But I was telling David earlier, I've got a buddy who's a head pro at a really ritzy course right near Clemson. A lot of big Clemson people there. And he was texting me, big Bengals fans. So we were texting about the Bengals game on Sunday. And he just started, he goes, oh boy, he goes, some of my members that are big donors are just hot. And when the big money starts getting angry, that's when trouble starts.
Well, I mean, they have not had to ask for big money really before at Clemson on this scale. So I certainly can appreciate that,
Mm-hmm. What's his buyout, by the way? We didn't even look that up.
It's got to be like
30, 40, doesn't it?
It's got to be something insane, yeah. I would think.
Would be. I don't know. It seems a little early to me to be going down this road with Dabo. But I could be wrong.
The thing is, in some ways, it feels a little bit like last runish.
I mean,
it doesn't have to be.
According to CBS Sports, a $60+ million buyout.
Yeah, they're never going to pay that. Like that, no. That's insane. At least I don't think they would.
I don't think so either.
I don't either.
I mean, there's only one Texas A&M.
I will say it is fun watching the guy from Texas Tech who's thrown all the money at Texas Tech do the Save College Sports commercials throughout the games.
Yes.
There's a subtle irony to that.
Well, I think he and the SEC had kind of a bit of a falling out, obviously.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting.
Yes, it is. It's just what the Big 12 needs, too.
It is. Yeah. The Big 12, I think the Big 12 in some ways, like they need Kansas State to suck. They need some.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes, still Kevin Brockway, who covers the Gators for a living, will join us here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Bud Elliott covers college football, the whole sport, 24/7, CBS, Nolecast, Cover 3 podcast. Those last two podcasts, by the way, award-winning, successful. That in and of itself needs to be brought to the attention. He's a 1%er when it comes to podcasters. Follow Bud on X at Bud Elliott, the number 3, 2 L's, 2 T's, the number 3. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. That's kind of a big fish, small pond intro for sure.
Well,
oh man, I'm good at podcasting, guys.
Hey,
in today's world, are you kidding me? That's a big deal.
There's 7 million of these suckers. There's only 50 of them that are any good. Come on now.
Now there's 8 million since he said that.
I saw you guys are pretty high up on the charts.
Once in a while, we get lucky. That whole blind squirrel theory. So, Bud, looking at where your prognostications at the beginning of the season, we're all wrong about a lot. What's the one thing that you look back upon that you were thinking in August that you just go, man, I missed this, and why?
I think it's that one of these young, promising quarterbacks in the SEC would step up and become like the dude, and that team would become the SEC favorite. And so far, Sellers has not looked any better as a passer. I know he got knocked out against Vanderbilt in that loss, but he's showing the same flaws that he showed against Illinois in the bowl game. And now everybody's kind of replicating that plan and making him actually sit and read the middle of the field, and he kind of bails too early on pockets or takes the check down too fast. Arch Manning looks just awful right now, almost like he has the yips or he's hurt. I know Texas denies that he's hurt. I'm not reporting that he's hurt, but I mean, you tell me, what do you guys think on that? And then Lagway, looks like a guy who didn't get to work all offseason with his receivers because he was hurt. And so you look at like who's the favorite for the SEC right now? It's kind of Georgia, and I thought their quarterback looked fine, but like not a world beater. I think Georgia's got elite skill talent on the outside, and Tennessee was missing both of their corners, both of whom are likely draft picks. So maybe it's just defense, run game, and a distributor quarterback is going to win the SEC. I think that makes this thing a lot more open as a sport.
Well, and Bud, could this year in the SEC be, remember the 2007 college football season where, take Hawaii off the table because they were unbeaten, but Ohio State was the only team that entered the bowls with less than 2 losses. Okay. And could that be the SEC this year? Could the right 10-2 teams go to Atlanta, if you know what I mean? Could this be the year that the SEC does look like the NFL?
In fact, in my latest playoff prognostication, I did not have an SEC team getting a bye.
Wow.
I think the chance that you get an undefeated Big Ten team and a one-loss Big Ten team, which is also obviously going to have a win over probably the third place Big Ten team, be it Oregon, Penn State, or Ohio State. I had Miami in there. I think that they're more likely to run the table than almost anyone else out there. And then I had Utah in there as well, coming out of the Big 12 at undefeated. Now, obviously, if the Big 12 champ has a loss, I don't think that the SEC is going to get shut out of the bye round. But yeah, to your point, we could easily see a 3-loss SEC champion, like pretty easily. And 2-loss is quite likely. So yeah, I think the lack of elite quarterbacks in the SEC, or the lack of elite quarterback play. Obviously, some of these guys probably remain elite prospects from a talent perspective, but they're not playing at an elite level right now. I think it's I thought the SEC was going to be back with a vengeance this year, and it's just not.
Carson Beck was damn near a punchline in the offseason. When I brought him up as the best transfer quarterback of the bunch, I was laughed out of the room. And the Cavender twins and the teammates and the Georgia couldn't get rid of him fast enough. I think we forgot how many balls Georgia dropped last year that Carson Beck threw, because he can play. And until Mario gets in the way, this Miami team looks like they're figuring it out, Bud.
There's no doubt. I think I said on Cover 3 on Sunday night, does Miami have the best lines of scrimmage put together in the country? Like offensive line, defensive line? I kind of think so. And who else would be in that conversation? Obviously, Bama's had some injuries. I think Georgia's a clear no there with their offensive line right now. Ohio State might like to have a word. Texas, with the offensive line issues they've had with the injuries, they're probably not, seriously in consideration, but their defensive line totally rips. Miami might just be the best line of scrimmage team in the country right now. And, Beck, when he's protected and obviously he's healthy, to your point, he looks great. Some of the young receivers are emerging. Malachi Toney's been really good for Miami. So I think they look for real.
Not to get too, goobery here, but when you look at the Gators on tape and you hear the LSU defensive players say, yeah, we knew everything that was coming. Does Napier's offense look that, pedestrian? Is this where the Sun Belt Billy moniker actually fits, because this offense just ain't going to get it done?
Yeah, I've always thought Billy was a better quarterback coach than a play caller and a designer of offense. And some guys just have that skill and not the other skill. And if you recall last year, the word out of Florida was that, hey, if he was going to stay, but we're going to make him hire a play caller, right? And he won so many games down the stretch last year. They beat Ole Miss, they whipped LSU. That chatter kind of went away. but maybe it should not have, right? I do think that their offense is a bit of a limiting factor. Their drop back stuff, I don't think is super like scary. Some of their run game stuff is actually pretty nice. I do think Billy does a good job with that. But when they get in those long down and distances, that's where it gets a little bit more challenging, and I think probably easier to defend than some other schemes out there. Lagway also doesn't look in sync at all. His mechanics look really off to me, probably because of the injury and whatnot. He's almost like, I don't say protecting his lower body, but like he's doing some of this weird jump pass stuff or kind of like just getting out of the way. I don't know, man. He doesn't look right to me. And their receivers are all, for the most part, pretty young and guys who we almost have to scheme open better than just like guys who win one-on-one for you. Although I love Vernell Brown. Like that kid's going to be a total stud for them, but he's obviously a true freshman. And to the point, if we say these are receivers who are dangerous with the ball in their hand, but you got to scheme them open, that kind of gets back to the scheme question that you just asked me. I don't know that Billy does a great job of that.
You mentioned all the young SEC quarterbacks and waiting for them to emerge. I know he is a Big Ten guy, and I know he didn't look good against Oklahoma. But Underwood looks like he could be the real deal. I'm fascinated by the game at Nebraska because if they get through that game, and I know they have to play USC, and everybody was talking Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska as Big Ten 4. Watch out for the Wolverines, bud.
Look, you can't write Michigan off for the playoff at this point, right? Because Underwood, he's already playing really well. I thought he played really well against Oklahoma. That's a Brent Venables defense that's very veteran. Oklahoma probably has the best defensive line in the country. So, like, I know Michigan struggled to block them, and Underwood had pressure all over him, and I don't think their scheme is anything special. But, man, he can really, really play. I'm excited about Big Ten play overall, to be honest. Dante Moore looks like the goods for Oregon. Childs at Michigan State is playing much better than I thought he would. I watched that opening game they had, and I was like, okay, kind of the same old Childs. And then against Boston College, like, oh, all right, this is going to work. And then last week he followed it up as well. I'm really excited to see what they can do this week against USC. When we were at Big Ten Media Day, Lincoln Riley told us he didn't go get a transfer quarterback, and they let Miller Moss obviously go to Louisville and didn't match any kind of offer there. Because Maeva, he said the errors are really fixable. Like, they're not stuff that scare me, and I'm confident I can fix them. He looks to have done so. Like, Maeva looks pretty damn good, man. There's a lot of higher quality quarterback play in the Big Ten than in the SEC. And I really, again, I thought the SEC was going to kind of like really distance himself from the Big Ten this year.
I want to get
the quarterback play. It's not happening.
I want to get to one more Big Ten point. I do just want to throw this out. We saw USC obviously Saturday. I think USC has benefited. Last year, they had 5 wide receivers, and they couldn't spread the ball around enough. Yeah. And now some of those receivers have left, and I actually think it's a good thing. Okay?
I agree with you.
Just throwing that out there.
I totally agree with you. And think about it. Like, I don't fault them for trying to spread it around last year, because you end up like the guys you're trying to spread it around to. I mean, how many big plays did Branch make for Georgia, obviously, on Saturday?
Right. No. They were all dudes.
Yeah, right. It turns out USC had like five NFL receivers on the team last year. Right. They were trying to spread it around. Yeah.
Right. But, okay, we finally learned something. Illinois, Indiana. Illinois played Duke. Indiana's played no one. Okay, these two teams are both ranked in the top 20. Is this overhype, or do you think that these teams are actually top 20 teams?
I definitely think they're top 20 teams. I mean, you get good veteran quarterbacks who have real skill sets, really good coaching staffs on both sides of the football. I think the lines of scrimmage play for them is really pretty good. Illinois, obviously, they've had a lot of injuries along the line of scrimmage on the offensive side. That's been a bit of a hindrance, but they still went down and they beat Duke by margin. You could say they got lucky to win by that much. I'm not buying the idea they got lucky to win the game. I think that they executed their plan as they wanted to do so, and Duke kind of fell into the trap that they laid there for the Blue Devils. I think, yeah, I mean, now if you tell me they're like top 5 teams, at that point I would probably balk at it, David, but I don't really think that top 20 or even top 15 is egregious. Like, they look pretty damn good.
I was high on Georgia Tech before the year. They proved me right on Saturday. Clemson's given up explosive plays. And when you look at Clemson, particularly on that side of the ball, Klubnik we can talk about all day long because the offense has been bad. And defensively, they've been okay, but they seemingly give up too many big plays to me. When you look at Clemson, where are their flaws to you?
So nothing seems easy on offense, right? Like, the offensive line is not real physical. They can't run the ball. I've never been a Cade Klubnik like NFL guy. I thought, but I did not think he would almost regress a little bit this year, the way he looks to have done so, which is kind of surprising to me given how veteran he is. And their receivers just aren't getting schemed open, it doesn't appear. They're not winning one-on-one. Like, everything appears to be difficult for Clemson on offense right now, and that really shouldn't be the case with the level of talent that they have. Defensively, I think there's probably some communication issues still with some of the new defensive stuff they're running under Tom Allen, who we know is a good defensive coach. But like, this team last year was not what the preseason said they were. Like, they lost 4 games last year. They lost to every team that had real athletes that they played last year, basically, except for Florida State, which had quit on the season, obviously. And I don't think SMU had like total elite athletes last year. And they did beat them, at the buzzer in the AC championship game. But like, the 4 teams they played that had real good athletes, they lost. And they just don't appear to have taken a step.
All right, we got about 3 minutes left. They got 3 or so games want to still touch upon. The Big 12 showdown, Texas Tech at Utah.
One of the best like line of scrimmage matchups we're going to have all year. Texas Tech spent a boatload of money on their defensive line. They appear to have hit on a lot of those guys. Utah has probably the best tackle tandem in the nation, although Miami might have something to say about that. Really good offensive schemes on both sides. I think Dampier and his legs are probably the difference in this one. Utah's defense a little bit better than I thought it would be so far on the season as well. Like, this is, to me, this is the game of the weekend. I think this is a fantastic matchup. And the winner of this is in the driver's seat for a bye in the college football playoff.
Auburn and Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a gauntlet of a schedule. To me, this is one they have to get.
Can Brent Venables scheme up enough stuff to confuse Jackson Arnold? He's seen him in practice for the last year. He should know what bothers Arnold. Auburn's offensive line is way better than Michigan's, though, so they are probably going to have to bring more blitz stuff. Although they brought a lot of blitz against Bryce because they thought they could get away with it, and they were correct. Auburn also has a lot better weapons on the outside than Michigan, but I definitely think Arnold is a true step down from where Underwood was. With Mateer, he's been taking a lot of chances of getting away with it. We'll see if that continues or if they can rein him in slightly.
Is Nebraska ready to be Nebraska again, hosting Michigan? Michigan a slate favorite.
I go back to that Cincinnati game. Cincinnati pushed them around on both lines of scrimmage. I think if they can do that, Michigan can too.
Miami and the Gators. The Gators' defense has been terrific. We can't knock what they've done on that side of the ball. To me, that gives them a puncher's chance against the Canes.
I totally agree. I think that the question is going to become, can they block Miami's defensive line? I do think Florida's defense, assuming that they haven't quit on the season, they actually come out and they make a game effort. And I think they will, because there's so many players on this team from South Florida. Like, they don't want to get punked by Miami and go home and hear about that all offseason. I think Florida's got a real shot here. I know they're 1-2, but I do think they have a shot.
How much of a shot, if South Florida right now is the leader in the clubhouse to be the Group of 5 representative? I think Tulane is a close second. Tulane at Ole Miss.
I don't think they have a great shot, but I think they have somewhat of a shot. That's a pretty good team. Watch out for running back Javin Gordon, by the way. He is legit. And, David, I agree with you. The American champ is getting the playoff bid. I don't think there's any way that a CUSA team or a Sun Belt team or a Mountain West team is going to come up and steal it at this point, because Memphis could be in it as well.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. Got an upset for us this week, bud?
Ooh. Can Arizona State go in and beat Baylor?
Ooh.
I don't know. I think that's possible.
All right.
Don't know that it excites us, but I hear you.
Hey, well, last week I gave you guys New Mexico over UCLA. That was fun.
You did, and the outlier was Arkansas, and they hung for a long time. So, yeah, okay. We'll hold you to it. He's Bud Elliott, all right? Thrilled to be joining us where we could see him. That makes my mom happy, okay? 24/7 Sports, CBS Sports. Oh, well done. Well played.
He took the hat off for David's mom, for those of you that are listening on radio and not watching on YouTube or Twitch.
All right, the Cover 3 podcast and NoCast. Follow him on X at Bud Elliott, 2 T's and the number 3. Bud Elliott, 2 L's, 2 T's and the number 3. Bud, all the best. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
I got to see y'all.
Bud Elliott.
Kevin Brockway next. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
Your
details.
roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floor Meisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floor Meisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floor Meisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floor Meisters, floormeisters.com. Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus a nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Kevin,
why don't you want to see them in Philly, Logic Man? I mean, really and truly, of all the teams that you could see, you're really scared of the Mets? You've been bombing them, for crying out loud.
Besides, Logic Man, you're going to get a bye. And
yeah,
I mean, you could play the Mets because if they're in at the 6th, then they'd have to beat the Dodgers. But, yeah. Logic Man, it's, a best of 3 is a total crapshoot. Could they beat the Dodgers in a best of 3? Sure. Right now, the Phillies are clearly better than the Mets. Much better starting pitching. Hell, a better bullpen for that matter. I might like the 9th inning for the Mets better, but key for the Phillies is they're the best home team in the league. They got to win their home playoff games. When they lost game 1 of the Mets last year, it rattled them. Logic Man, I think it depends how the Mets finish here.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Kevin Brockway is kind enough to join us. You can follow him on X at Kevin Brockway G1. Kevin Brockway G1. He covers the Gators for the Gainesville Sun and the Gannett Network, which services papers throughout the state of Florida. Kevin, David, and Mark, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yes, Naples, Fort Myers, too. You can find my work in there.
Oh, well, that's great. You used to work there, so that's good. 2 weeks ago, we had John. And needless to say, been a rough 2 weeks for the Gators. How's the room? How's everybody handling it? You've been there with a few different regimes. You know when it's starting to go bad. How's the room?
Yeah, I would say this, David. I would say that Billy Napier is trying to summon the playbook of last year in terms of keeping everyone together, staying positive through it. But there is, in that parlance of Ron Zook, a lot of noise in the system, particularly from the outside, and questions also about, whether the team is split, DJ Lagway, throwing a 5-interception game. In this NIL era, is Lagway getting special treatment, compared to other players, and him maybe not performing or living up to the billing of the NIL dollars that he's getting. But I do think that they're, for the most part, I think the players are good kids, nice kids that are trying hard. And I don't sense a division yet within the team, but I do think that there just has to be, better execution across the board. This team was, I think, expecting a lot more going into the season in terms of their performance and being able to turn the corner off the 4-game winning streak from last year. It hasn't happened. Different people are trying to take accountability. Lagway's trying to take accountability. Billy Napier's taking accountability. But it's got to turn soon, or else, this regime will come to an end at some point this season.
Well, and one of the things a lot of people called for, Kevin, was someone else calling the plays. And that didn't happen. And when the LSU players are saying after the game they basically knew what was coming, that to me was one of the biggest indictments of Napier's offense, that LSU knew it was coming. I mean, I don't know at this point if you can even change that, can you?
We have asked him point blank, if he would consider giving up play calling after the USF game, and he said no, that, the plan was still in place for him to call the plays. And Russ Callaway and Ryan O'Hara involved also in the offense. But, I mean, if this regime fails, it will probably go down. One of the decisions that Billy Napier may regret 10 or 20 years from now is doing what, say, FSU did and bringing in a guy like Gus Malzahn, a high-powered offensive coordinator, to take that off his plate. Billy has been very steadfast with the play calling. He wants to control it. And his offenses, haven't necessarily reflected that. I mean, last year they were 12th in the SEC in total yards. I mean, I even go back to the Tulane game and the bowl game. Even though they won that game 31-6, they only scored 6 points in the first half of that game. So very similar to USF, where they had to settle for field goals. Only they weren't facing a backup quarterback. They were facing a starting quarterback, and they lost that game. So I think for Billy not to recognize that could go down as his fatal flaw.
Can we emphasize the positive, though? I mean, the defense has given up, not much the last 2 weeks, 38 total points. I mean, LSU had no running game to that final run that they broke off to seal the game. But, if the defense can play at this level, this season is salvageable, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think there's more comfort under Ron Roberts. David, I would still like to see more. They're not getting the pass rush, though. I mean, they've only had about 2 or 3 sacks so far. They didn't necessarily make Nussmeier that uncomfortable. Listen, you could say, it was 20-10, but, at the end of the game, Brian Kelly did a little mercy rule there. Remember, he downed the ball. They didn't get the stop on the long run. So I would say the defense is playing okay, and but even they will admit, room to improve, create more turnovers, create more altering plays. Now, there's been some injuries on that side of the ball. Obviously, Caleb Banks re-injuring his leg is a big issue going forward. And O.J. McCray, the promising edge rusher, he's got a broken foot. So that's impacted some things. But, Miles Graham is really a guy who's on the come as far as just his leadership, his tackling ability. He and Jaden Robinson, the linebackers have played very well on this team.
They're going to be tested this week because Miami's very good at the line of scrimmage. And if they couldn't get a pass rush, against the South Floridas of the world, and LSU, I think, is much better at the line, they're up against it against Miami. If they can't get a rush with 4, how much trouble are they in? Because Carson Beck's looked like a really solid quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big issue in terms of, Miami's offensive line playing at a very high level, of course, right now. And that's how Mario Cristobal built it, right, on both lines of scrimmage. Whereas Florida, I think their line of scrimmage is pretty good, for sure. But I think if you look at the other line of scrimmage, the offensive line for Florida as well, that's an area where they've underperformed a bit, a lot of penalties. I mean, they've given DJ Lagway a clean pocket, given a lot of just bad penalties and bad times. Obviously, the Najee Harris, holding penalty wipes out that big 87-yard touchdown pass from Lagway to Jaden Daw. That could have changed the momentum of the game against LSU completely. So that's an area where they've got to clean up. They've just been flagged for too many holding penalties on their offensive line. But for Florida, it's going to be, a tough ask because right now Miami's playing at a pretty high level on both lines of scrimmage.
Do we think Lagway is playing hurt, or did we all, to differing degrees, not give enough to the fact that he missed all of the spring and a good chunk of the summer? Okay, which do you think it is? He's still not recovered and he's trying to play through it, or he ain't on the same page with the rest of his team?
I think it's a little more of the second, but I will say that I thought the first couple of weeks he looked a little ginger from the calf. Wasn't moving around well. I thought LSU was the best that he's looked physically, which is ironic because given the performance. But I think that, being on the same page with receivers, reading defenses, you kind of thought those mental reps in the spring and the film study was going to show up this season for DJ, but it hasn't. But, and the other factor too, David, is, teams are just playing them differently. They're playing the 2 high safeties. They're, forcing him to throw underneath. And I think that's where DJ, is still growing as a quarterback, is making those short and intermediate throws. Last year he was like the Darryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber. He had 12 completions to 40 yards or more. This year he only has 1, and I think that a lot of that has to do with how the defenses are playing him.
Look at that reference.
That was
Daryl
solid.
Monica.
Very solid.
Wow.
The other thing, Kevin, to me is that, we thought, at least I thought, DJ was going to be able to do more with his legs. And to David's point, being banged up, we're not seeing the dual threat part of this. When he was just sitting back, I saw a lot of tunnel vision. I saw him eyeing down one receiver, and that's a detriment to any quarterback. But to me, it would be nice to see a first down or two with his legs.
Yeah, no question. And you talk about eyeing down receivers, that's what, Billy Napier said post-game, going through progression has been an issue with DJ as well. And that's, again, scouting and having tape on someone, I think. And that's for the dual threat, ability of DJ Lagway. I've never really seen it. He's always struck me. I mean, even last year as a freshman as a throw-first quarterback, and maybe the injuries have, impacted that a little bit. Remember last year he had a hamstring too. I mean, he's 247 pounds, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's, a Tim Tebow chiseled athletic 247 pounds. Let's put it that way. And so you don't necessarily see that. I did think the LSU game, he looked to run a little bit more, escape the pocket as a scrambler, and actually took on some tacklers, tried to be tough. And that's where I think that he's starting to look a little better physically. But yeah, I don't know if they can throw some wrinkles, some design runs in there, but I think DJ has always struck me as a quarterback that looks to pass first.
Should the backup quarterback be in play here? Like, let's just say he's struggling. They're down 2 scores. They come out of the locker room at halftime. I mean, should the backup quarterback be in play, or would that just be a sign that Napier's lost it?
Well, Billy just has, faith in DJ regardless. It seems like I think as long as Billy is coaching in the sidelines, he's going to give DJ every opportunity to work his way through this. That being said, I thought Tramel Jones looked a little promising in the second half of that Long Island game. Now, he's a true freshman, though, and it is Long Island, right? It's a big step up,
right?
So would he be ready if he was called upon? But I think, barring an injury to DJ Lagway, I don't think you would see Tramel Jones, as long as Billy Napier is the coach of the program throughout the season. I think Billy is going to sink or swim with DJ. He's going to stick with him. He still considers DJ one of the best quarterbacks in the country. This is the guy that he recruited. I don't think he wants to kill his confidence by taking him out of a game.
And I think to your earlier point, in the NIL world, it's even tougher now than it was before. But, you mentioned the holding penalty. They had, I think, 2 touchdowns called back against South Florida. Their offense wouldn't be as critical of the offense if it weren't for the penalties. This team keeps stubbing its own toe and can't get out of its own way in a lot of instances. And to me, that could be a bigger problem than anything else, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, no question. But I think if you're a good enough offense, you're built without that margin for error, right? You just kind of shake it off and come back and move on to the next play. Like, that play is over, move on and make another play. And it's that USF touchdown drive, they had 2, right, on the same drive, the touchdowns. They weren't on different drives. They were on the same drive. But, you just have to keep plugging away, right, and move on to the next play when something like that happens. And if you have an offense that's, built to move the ball and built to execute in the red zone, you can do that. And I think that's systemic of a bigger issue, which we discussed earlier, is, just Billy's play calling and the fact that the offense just doesn't seem as intricate, let's say, as some of the other offenses, throughout the SEC and the defenses are facing. Billy Donovan coined this term in basketball, easy to scout. I would say that Florida's offense right now is, and it has been through the Napier, very easy to scout.
Kevin Brockway, the Gainesville Sun, Gannett papers throughout the state of Florida. He also has his work appear in Southwest Florida, back in the 239. He's Kevin Brockway. Follow him on X at Kevin Brockway G1, Kevin Brockway G1. Kevin, safe travels to Miami. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Kevin Brockway joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tec. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tec. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller & Moulton.
David just received a text. Hang on, cleaning myself here. Runza and Amigos to try in Lincoln. I did look them both up. They look like local fast food type places. And I did confirm that with the texter. For me, looking at the menu quickly, I would go Runza before I would go Amigos. They had a French onion burger that looked not half bad.
Here's my dilemma if they're watching, which I don't know that they are. I'm staying in Kansas City.
Oh.
I'm driving in the morning, doing the game and driving back afterwards.
Attaboy. So then you're going to have barbecue.
So the amount of time that I'm going to be in Lincoln is
How far is it from KC to Lincoln?
It's 3 hours.
Oh, that's
a leisurely drive.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. Don't know if there's a pick or two to be made. But if so, we will. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We just had Kevin Brockway on talking Gators. Before that, Bud Elliott talking college football as a whole. And before that, Seth Everett. All three, Kevin, Bud, and Seth, joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Chris from American Paint Supply sent me a text during the show. They're doing a little new social media campaign, and they were silly enough, David, to put on their social, proud sponsor of this show, with a picture of our two ugly mugs.
Oh, my goodness. I thought you were trying to sell.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is get people to buy paint so they can paint over our faces. My story, and I'm sticking to it.
I don't think you're that far from the truth. I really don't. So, Fox is doing something interesting Saturday. They're going to have, I think, a Big 12 triple header before your USC-Michigan State game in the evening.
Yes, it's Big 12 all day.
Right. Okay. Don't
Good
you
for
think
the Big 12, by the way.
It's awesome.
And what's not a great college football Saturday, to get that kind of exposure is tremendous for the Big 12.
Will people watch?
I don't know. I mean, it's so funny because of things that have been going on in my world. My wife has had to work a lot of Saturdays. She has 2 days off a week, and it's usually Thursday or Saturday and always Sunday. And she said to me earlier this week, she goes, "Hey, I got Saturday off. Can we do something? I know it's college football season, ... And I was like, boy, if you were to pick a Saturday, this isn't a bad Saturday to pick. Because outside of the Gators and Canes, I mean, I know we've got the noon game and we've got Auburn and Oklahoma and Michigan and Nebraska. I have a little bit of interest, but this is, after this week, it's conference play. It's on, if you know what I mean.
By the way, we said when the game was scheduled, we said, this is going to get some network action. We just don't know what network and what time. And how about Belichick and UCF getting the 3:30 slot on Fox?
Yeah, I guess that kind of shows you what's out there this week.
Well, yeah, there is that. Okay, like I will say SMU TCU is an ESPN2 game, Arizona State Baylor's the nightcap. So it's the middle of the Big 12, if you will, triple header before your Spartans and USC at 11 o'clock at night.
Oof. Right. But when, I pay attention to East Carolina because it's where my son graduated from. When they play BYU and they get the deuce, it's not a great college football Saturday.
By the way, if I were to have you looked at the spread of UCF North Carolina?
I have not.
Okay. Who's favored and by how much?
North Carolina 3.
UCF 6.5.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Really?
Thank you. I mean,
what have they done to deserve that? Now, I know North Carolina's not done anything, but what's UCF done to be a touchdown favorite against damn near anyone right now?
Considering that they've played Jacksonville State and trailed in the fourth quarter at home before rallying to win, and North Carolina A&T, who they did destroy by 61. Mark, I wonder, is this the benefit of not playing last week?
Worked well for Florida State. They moved up 2 in the rankings by not playing.
I know. In fact, in the other poll, they moved up 3 by not playing. Once again, Idle, not as tough as she used to be. Okay. That's like Lou Holtz's old line. Mary is just not helping William the way she used to. Idle used to be much tougher. And we don't mean American. But so UCF gets the 3:30 slot. So they're up against obviously Michigan and Nebraska on CBS. Are they up against Oklahoma, Auburn on ABC?
Work with me. Sorry, David. Yes, I believe. No, I think that's a night game, isn't the?
So are they up against Gators Canes? No, the Gators Canes is the night game. Yeah, they're up against Auburn, Oklahoma at 3:30.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
So, by the way, it's just like old times. Nebraska and Oklahoma at 3:30. Oh, they're not playing each other.
So, UCF a touchdown favorite.
I know. I thought it might be really small. I thought it might be in the 1.5 to 2.5 range. Okay, that they think the teams are similar, blah, blah, blah.
And this game, and we've not talked a lot of UCF at all after their start against Jacksonville State. But the one thing we mentioned preseason is they have to take care of business at home. They have a difficult Big 12 road schedule. They've not proven yet that they can go on the road in conference and win a whole hell of a lot. And expectations are low in Frost's first year, but how low? I mean, they need to get to a bowl game. They need to get 6. I don't think that's asking too much of UCF, David. And if they're going to get there, this is one of the games they have to get. But you throw a 6.5 number out there, now you're saying you expect them to win. And it will not be met well if they lose.
If they get this one, that's 3. The road game at Kansas State just got a lot easier because K-State's turned into a bit of a grease fire. After that, the game at home against Oklahoma State. So, you got to figure if they beat North Carolina, they're going to beat Oklahoma State. That's 4.
But you mentioned, and you're right on the Kansas State on the road, but here's the difference. When we looked at the schedule in August, David, we thought that at Cincinnati might be the road game they could get. Cincinnati looks to be a little bit better than we thought. So are you just flipping K-State and Cincinnati, if you know what I mean?
Also thought the home game against Houston might be a little easier than right now it's looking. Houston, they just thumped Colorado. So, yeah, it's a spot for UCF, but it's also a chance for eyeballs. I mean, they got the 3:30 slot on Fox. They're not getting a 7 o'clock spot on FS1. You know what I mean?
And people are still, and look I think they get more eyeballs if they're winning because people will pay attention to Belichick if things go badly.
I feel badly for him. he tried to do something nice at his weekly media thing because UCF's offensive line coach. Nobody's telling us specifically what the medical emergency was. There's a lot of assumptions, a heart attack, stroke, but we don't know. They're not telling us. But Bill opened up his presser by, saying, I've had things like that happen on my staff. And, he sent his heartfelt thoughts out to the coach and his family, but also to Scott Frost, his players and coaches on staff. He keeps referring to them as central, though.
Okay. Yeah, that gets the UCF fan upset.
Yes. People are kind of like, come on, we're UCF. You're not even calling us Central Florida. What is this Central? Are we a time zone?
Hey, I live in this state. I've watched these teams change, but we are supposed to call between, it was USF, and then it became South Florida. It was Central Florida, then it became UCF. I mean, they got to figure out what the hell they want to be called. And now it's UCF. Go win the game. You can go to the presser and tell Bill to call you whatever the hell you want. Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So you get all directs again this week, huh?
No, I can't get to KC direct.
Oh, really?
I had to go through Atlanta.
Oh, that sucks. EB, we talked to Gary Myers about it yesterday. He thinks that ship has sailed. I think he's right.
I think Stephen Ross and the Dolphins are his only last shot.
JDR, I literally want to go to I want to do a little Northeast trip with my family because my wife's never been to Maine. I've never been to like Vermont or New Hampshire, knock off about 5 states that I've never set foot in. And I want to fly into New Haven specifically so I can have pizza. I want to fly in and out of New Haven so I can eat pizza at, 2 of those 3 famous places there. All right, chat. I'll just read them, not on air, but you tell me outside of Buffalo Chips, because I know Buffalo Chips has great wings. Best wings in Southwest Florida. Go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. You missed any part of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed. Every hour of the show is its own podcast, and download accordingly. Tomorrow's show, shaping up pretty nice. I got to be honest. It's an NFL extravaganza. Roy Cummings to talk Bucks. Chris Perkins to talk Dolphins. J.P. Shadrick to talk Jags. Darn near back to back to back. I don't know if you've heard. It's an NFL extravaganza.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
If you get a 2-word text from me and the first letter of the first word is an F, it's because I'm in my car today saying that to myself all afternoon.
I think everybody should try to use it once today. Pick your spot. Something's going on. Don't know what it could be. Okay. Could be, kids playing a musical instrument. I don't know.
Could be wife making dinner. Ooh,
right.
It's a taco extravaganza.
Okay. It could be a hell of a meeting at work. And you go, this was a work extravaganza. I don't know. I hope it fits that everybody can try it once.
We start today in 1787 when the Constitution was signed by delegates at the Philadelphia Convention. 1862, The bloodiest day in the American Civil War, the Battle of Antietam. 22,000 dead. 1912, Casey Stengel debuts with Brooklyn, hits 4 singles. The NFL is born today in 1920. In Canton, Ohio, 12 teams pay $100 each to join the American Professional Football Association, what was renamed the NFL in 1922.
I'm sorry, franchises are going for like 6 and how much billion today? How much did it cost?
$100.
Wow.
You get a franchise, and you get a franchise, and you get a franchise. Today in 1934, RCA Victor releases the first 33 1/3 recording. Yes, vinyl. It was Beethoven's 5th, performed by the Philadelphia Orchestra. Stan Musial makes his major league debut today in 41 for the St. Louis Cardinals. He went 2 for 4. Lord of the Flies, published today in 54. Brooks Robinson plays his first Major League Baseball game in 55. Nicklaus wins the 59th U.S. Amateur in 1959. Today was the Vikings' first game in 61. This guy named Tarkington comes off the bench to lead the Vikings to a 37-13 victory and becomes the only QB to throw for 4 touchdown passes in his first career game. Bewitched premiered in 64, the same day that Baby Love by the Supremes, mainly for your mother, David. The Supremes released Baby Love today in 64, their second consecutive #1 record. Good TV today in 67. Didn't matter what you watched. If you were watching the Ed Sullivan Show, The Doors premiered. Jim Morrison did Light My Fire. They told him to change the lyrics. He didn't. They never had him back. On the Smothers Brothers, The Who did My Generation. They detonated a bomb in Keith Moon's drum kit. Scared the hell out of everybody and wrecked Townsend's hearing. The TV show MASH premiered today in 1972. It would run for 11 years, be one of the most critically acclaimed television shows ever. Carter's big day was today in 78, I would say, David, because the frameworks for Middle East peace between Egypt and Israel were signed at the Camp David Accords. I mean, isn't that the highlight of the Carter presidency?
Oh, yeah.
Not close, right?
Yeah, I think everybody involved won Nobel Peace Prizes. Unfortunately for Sadat, it got him killed 3 years later. But by the way, should be worth noting, 47 years later, the peace still holds.
Today in 1982, the movie The Wall made its premiere, and this guy named George Thorogood released Bad to the Bone.
Loved it. Loved it.
Reggie is the 13th to 500 home runs today in 84. And in 2000, the Miami Dolphins retired the number 13 jersey of one Dan Marino. And they've not had a quarterback worth a damn since. Hank Williams, Sr., George Blanda, actor John Ritter, and basketball player and great businessman Junior Bridgman would have all celebrated birthdays today. Phil Jackson's 80, Anthony Carter is 65, Mark Brunell 55, Rasheed Wallace 51, Racer Jimmy Johnson, not Coach Jimmy Johnson, is 50, David's favorite, Flo Rida, is 46, Alex Ovechkin is 40, Patrick Mahomes is 30, and Austin Matthews is 28. What did I miss, David?
So are we going to start to call Mahomes old? I mean, how much longer do you have to go? You know, it's first digits of 3 now.
Right.
I mean, the time is a ticking. Did you see Ovechkin's got cereal? Somebody made a cereal. It's like Ovies. Okay. Obviously it's only in, the greater Washington, D.C. area, but he's got a cereal.
No, but I did see a video of he and his son and another player playing ball hockey in the hallway of Ovechkin's house. It was fantastic. He is a big kid.
He really, well, the way he celebrated the cup. I mean,
legend. Legend.
Yes. Oprah launched her book club today in 96. All right. When you started giving away, franchises for $100, you did it like Oprah, give it away, and you win a car, Okay. She launched her book club today in 96. There hasn't been anything in the last 30 years that sold books like Oprah's book club.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We got a dog getting saved in Rotunda, West Florida. A fire led to the rescue of a dog named Rocky. The owner was not home when the fire broke out. The fire department was called because smoke was smelled. And Joe Rice, a Charlotte County fire medic, was able to get Rocky out of the flames. Way to go. For the bad, we go to Riverview, Florida, where the ice cream man is in trouble. Apparently, the driver of an ice cream truck is now banned from a shopping plaza after making a pit stop during his shift because he was harassing and threatening employees at the Cala Cafe in Riverview. It's a Colombian coffee shop, and they fly the Colombian flag above the shop, and the ice cream man didn't like it. So he was harassing the women that worked there and threatening them. He's been trespassed and will never be allowed back near it. Finally, the ugly, we go to Tampa in what could have been horrific, and thank goodness for some tremendous work by the police, because a driver was going the wrong way on I-4. About 2:30 in the morning, the car driven by Kirsten Bell refused to pull over, driving the wrong way on the highway. Fortunately, FHP, along with Tampa police, were able to use a pit maneuver to get the car to stop and get the woman out of the car before anything awful happened. The woman was so drunk that she said, she was asked, "Do you realize you're going the wrong way on the interstate?" She said, "On the interstate? In this car? Are you serious?" And then at one point, she stated that her husband was driving her home. She was alone in the car. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Wednesday, September the 17th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Well, the same teams playing baseball last night are playing baseball again today. There's a few games in the afternoon. Cubs Pirates at 12:30, Reds Cardinals at 1:15, Orioles White Sox, Giants D-backs playing a glorified mighty nooner in Phoenix. It's a 3:40 Eastern start. So I will say the Mets especially will know, because the Reds, the Giants, and the Diamondbacks will all have completed their games when they are taking on the Padres. WNBA playoffs tonight, Mark.
Oh, what do we got?
Well, if you want to wager, there's 4 playoff series. 2 of them had game 2 last night. So what do you think? Game 2 and the other 2 series tonight, both of them on the 4-letter network at 8 and 10 o'clock. Phoenix and New York to take on the Liberty. The Liberty won game 1 on the road.
I'll lay the 2.5 with the Liberty.
And Minnesota, number 1 team in the regular season, at Golden State. And they're a 10.5-point favorite.
I don't like to lay that many when I bet the WNBA, David, but I'll do it because I think, quite frankly, Minnesota just outclasses Golden State tonight. Nice Cinderella run for this franchise, but it comes to a halt.
You don't like to lay that many points for when you bet the WNBA?
I'd like to get a little credit for doing that whole thing straight right there.
Going to say, because I'm trying to figure out, did we actually place a couple of bets on our buddy Semesco and the Dream throughout the season?
We did not make one WNBA bet this entire season. Last year, believe it or not, we were outstanding betting the WNBA.
I say we bet Semesco and the Gals tomorrow night, game 3, an elimination game against Indiana.
They're a 7.5-point favorite for what it's worth.
Okay. So, and obviously got to wait one more night for football.
Yes, we do. We will get into Bills and Dolphins Thursday night football. Can't you feel it? Division rivalry?
Hello? Hello?
On the shocked meter, 1 to 100 if the Dolphins won. Wouldn't it be about 110?
Oh, I was thinking a minimum 98, but yes. Yes, absolutely. And so much so that you'd almost wonder was something funky going on here tonight. Okay. Was there a story that the Bills went out and there was, a bachelor, one of the most popular guys on the team had a bachelor party Tuesday or something like that? I honestly, I would want to know. I would investigate what was going on with the Bills harder than Adam Silver is investigating what's going on with Ballmer.
Which is not at all.
I'll tell you,
not at all. Pablo Torre keeps bringing more and more actual evidence to the table, and the NBA and the owners are like, nothing to see here.
Every time Adam Silver opens his mouth, he's like, listen, okay, we don't do innuendo. We need evidence, okay? Presumption of innocence. All right. I mean, nothing about would you take the franchise away from him? How about this? Do you void Kawhi's contract? Is it possible to not punish Ballmer and void his contract? Or are the two joined?
They have to be joined. They have to be joined, David.
Come on, this is major professional sports.
No, I know.
I mean, we all know.
You can't void the contract and then not punish Ballmer in some way. I don't think a damn thing happens, but I find it great that Silver just says, this is innuendo, this is that. And Pablo Torre says, here's 5 executives from the company that used to work there that questioned every part of this deal.
Right. This company's going bankrupt. It gets a $20 million loan from a minority owner of the Clippers, and $17.5 million of it goes to Kawhi, and he's not doing anything for the company. Innuendo, huh? Huh. I missed that definition of innuendo.
By the way, you mentioned with something would have to go on with Buffalo and a bachelor party. See, if the game were in Miami, having watched a bunch of videos in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the old NBA and the stories of players coming from Orlando to Miami and showing up at practice the next morning in the same clothes that they wore coming from Orlando to Miami.
Right.
That could happen. The other way around seems highly unlikely.
We always wondered why the Hawks were never better, okay? Because with all the joints that the NBA players could spend many an hour at, how were the Hawks not better at home? Miller and Moulton. Have a great hump day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, your home for all the football and baseball that September provides, plus the nightly food special. Got bingo and trivia Tuesdays and Thursdays, live music Fridays, karaoke Saturdays. Never mind the fact that Shoeless Joe's is going to celebrate Grandparents' Day, National Hot Dog Day, National Cheeseburger Day, all in the month of September. Food and drink specials during every NFL game. Shoeless Joe's, the official home for Ohio State football. Shoeless Joe's, good food, good times, good sports in the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
So I asked him at Floormeisters, hey, what do you want me to tell everyone for September? He says, well, tell them I just bought 100 pallets of Core-Tech. So I've got so much of it, I can keep the prices low. Plus, installation's always available. Delivery's always available. And tell them Floormeisters has colors, 15 of them that no one else has. Floormeisters in Naples, next to Costco, whether it's carpet, tile, or Core-Tech. The best flooring, best service, at the best prices. Floormeisters. Floormeisters.com.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. Football season is back and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
This is Miller and Moulton.